morning, everyone, and happy Monday from the opening drive on 101 ESPN in St. Louis at 7 o'clock. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers and officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Brooke Grimsley. I'm Randy Carricker. Great to have you with us. Carrie Davis is off today doing the, here's what we got going on here at 101 ESPN in the morning show. Brooke, good morning.
Good morning.
Did you have a good weekend?
I did have a great weekend.
Good. I did too. We're going to talk about that coming up with what we loved about the weekend. But we have a deal here.
Okay.
Don't tell anybody. But we do a show from 7 to 10, okay?
Uh-huh. Sometimes 11.
Right. Many times 11. But here's the thing. We do a show plan on Sunday night for Monday because we're reacting to the weekend. So we essentially can get out of here at 10 o'clock on Friday. Mm-hmm. So we basically can have like a 4-day weekend because we do the show Friday, like CD, gets out of here at 10 o'clock on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then take off Monday. That's a pretty good deal.
Is that the setup? Is that what you're saying?
Well, you've utilized it. I've utilized it. CD's utilizing it.
Yeah, there's something about taking the Mondays off. We've had this discussion before of if it's better to take that Friday off or the Monday off, but definitely the move is to have that Monday off to get away from the Sunday scaries. Do you get the Sunday scaries, Randy?
You know what? I don't think they're the Sunday scaries, but I get into productive mode during the second game of the 3 o'clock window games. I totally, because you guys, like every week, I kind of do the plan, the show plan. I know you might hate this unilaterally. I throw a show together because I'm just thinking, I'm in thought mode.
The wheels are turning. Yeah. That's what's happening.
Yeah, so it's not the scaries. It's I'm in productive mode much earlier than Sunday night.
Yes, and maybe the scaries can motivate you a little. The scaries don't have to be a bad, negative thing. It's just that a little bit of just like, oh, okay, I gotta kind of laser focus in on these games.
So here's what we need. We need the Blues to come up with some Sunday scaries.
Oh, that's where the Sunday scaries kicks in.
Oh, yeah. They need to have them on Sunday and Monday. Pretty rugged weekend. Well, should I tell you, by the way, the Blues president, Chris Zimmerman, is going to join us at 9:15. Going to talk about Hockey Fights Cancer. If you aren't aware of it, Kelly Chase dealing with leukemia and starting chemo last week. So we're going to talk to Chris Zimmerman about the Blues' amazing initiative in Hockey Fights Cancer. We're also going to talk to Chris Kerber at 8:15. Okay, so now you know what's coming up guest-wise on the show. Friday night, the Blues lost to Columbus. 5th worst record in the league, 5-2. Saturday, they lost to the Blackhawks. Worst record in the league, 3-1.
Ooh, that's the Sunday scaries, Randy. I told you when I walked in this morning, we were talking about the Blues. I'm a little bit concerned because we talked about going into this weekend. These were games that they on paper, should have been able to win. We saw what they were able to do when they went to Vegas and beat the Golden Knights, the way that they were able to shut down that Eichel line. And then, obviously, it didn't follow up with a great performance, but it's been a back and forth affair for the Blues all season. It just felt like, on paper, they should have been able to have a successful trip. But that is not what happened whatsoever. And some concerning quotes came out, too, from this weekend from your captain and Braden Shen. This is the biggest one, where he says, it's not everyone, but you can't just choose when you want to show up.
And clearly, the captain wouldn't say that if there weren't people doing that, right? And he didn't, to his credit, didn't name names. But again, as the captain, it's his responsibility to go to those guys and say that exact thing. You can't pick and choose when you're going to show up to play because we see such uneven, as you mentioned, with the whole Vegas and the win there and then coming home. We see it way too often with the Blues, and that's really the root of their inconsistency, isn't it? Is inconsistent effort.
It is. That's 100% what it is, and that's what your captain is saying in that quote right there. You could see the frustrations in what he is saying, and maybe he has tried to work with those players individually, but when you have a performance and multiple performances like that coming out of this weekend, you do start to get concerned about what exactly is going on in this locker room and why that buy-in is not there.
There's a great line from our he's a friend of the balloon party, Taylor Twellman.
We tried to make him a fan and a friend.
Yeah.
We tried. What happened there, Randy?
It didn't work out. I don't know. He's got a buddy in the balloon party.
Oh.
But anyway, the Blues now, and the question is, what are we doing here? Blues have played 27 games. 27 games now. We're almost a third of the way through the season. Oscar Sundqvist scored a shorthanded goal on Saturday. That gives the Blues 7 shorthanded goals this season, and in 27 games, 7 power play goals. What are we doing here?
Randy, I think if we knew the answer to that, then maybe we would go to the Blues and say, hey, this is your big glaring problem. But I just go back to that quote with Shin. It shows that the belief maybe in his eyes, and he is one of the leaders of your team, is that not everybody is bringing the same intensity that they should game in, game out, which is what we've been talking about, right? We've been talking about the effort. We could see that, but we don't know what's going on in that locker room. And Braden Shin basically said this weekend, no, I'm letting you know what you're seeing and what you believe is true, because that intensity is not there game in and game out. And that was him calling out certain guys.
Here's Chief after the Saturday night loss to the Blackhawks by a score of 3-1.
In the first period, our intensity wasn't high enough. We didn't win any puck battles. Execution with the puck, poor. We changed that in the second and the third, but you're down 3-0. It's tough.
And now the Blues have lost 3 in a row for the first time all season, and 2 of those to 2 of the worst teams in the league. And the Blues host David Perron and Patrick Kane and the Red Wings tomorrow night at Enterprise Center.
Ooh.
Who are you rooting for?
Who am I rooting for?
David Perron or the Blues?
I'm going to have to root for the Blues. David Perron, obviously.
David Perron for hat-trick Blues to win 4-3, something like that?
No, David Perron is a great guy. Obviously, helped the Blues get a Stanley Cup. And I also think was a huge loss for the Blues in general, a big voice in that locker room. Randy, you and Michelle had Perron on, and he was such a great guest on the show when you had him on here. And that's exactly who he was in that locker room, too. He was very vocal, a great leader in that room. And to lose him, not just on the ice and his abilities, but also off the ice, you couldn't beat postseason Perron, by the way.
No.
He was so valuable, the way that he was really able to notch up that intensity. And we're talking about intensity, that's what the Blues are lacking right now. And you also did, by the way, this past weekend, lose Robert Bertuzzo, another part of that Stanley Cup championship team. So we say goodbye to Robert.
Yeah, and what a great guy. And I was shocked that he lasted 10 years with the Blues, that he was here for that long. But, we will miss him, and they will miss him. And this might be for a bigger segment down the line. But do you think now, and the game has changed a lot in 5 years, but with young players and their lack of attention span and a lack of ability to come and bring it every single night, do you think there'll ever be another team like the 2019 Blues that won based on hard work?
No.
Consistent hard work?
No.
I don't either.
I really don't. That was such a special team. And I think that we're already seeing that trend really start to happen in hockey, where you have the faster, the younger guys coming through. But that was just such a veteran-heavy group. I know that there was some young stars in there, too, like Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou, but still, that was such a special group. So many leaders in one room, and sometimes that doesn't work out, but it worked well because Craig Berube got them all to buy in.
And you look at the top teams in the league. We saw Vegas a couple of times last week, loaded with talent. Rangers, all those draft picks are now coming to the fore, loaded with talent. Bruins, even without Patrice Bergeron, loaded with talent. Vancouver, young and fast. Kings, young and fast. Panthers, young and fast and tough. The best teams in the Colorado, loaded with talent. The best teams in the league, they get away from that need to play gritty every night because they have such extraordinary talent.
Exactly. And I know that we got to see Jacob or Jakub Vrana a little bit this weekend. Can we just go ahead and say that this project is not working out? I don't think that he fits into this system or maybe even any system right now. So I just hate it.
No, I agree. College basketball this weekend, a win for the Billikens over at Chaffetz.
There we go.
Jason Tatum in attendance.
Yes, I saw that.
And by the way, Alexa Dad doing a great job on the play-by-play on Valley, so love that. Billikens beat Hofstra 71-68. Missouri came back a little bit against second-ranked Kansas, but fell to the Jayhawkers 73-64. Still, there's Kansas people that I love. I just think.
Is there?
Yeah. So, no, I do. So, congratulations to all my Jayhawk friends.
Randy, it's been over 3 decades since the Tigers won a basketball game in Fog Allen. I mean, there's home field advantage, and there's that.
Well, when's the last time Kansas football won in Columbia? Thank you.
I had to double check that.
And I'll tell you this: when conferences are negotiating these massive TV deals. It's 85% football and 15% basketball. Literally, nobody cares about college basketball. Well, not literally. I shouldn't say literally.
You're going to enrage a lot of people with that, including somebody in this room, because we know.
Yeah, 15% of America according to the people who run the conferences, care deeply about it. So don't worry about it, Matthew. That's my point. It's okay. So they got their cute little basketball going. They have nice jerseys, a cute little bird. Like a depressing Catholic church chant, rock chalk, praise the Lord, amen.
Randy, it's a lot sooner than you think, by the way. Apparently, Thanksgiving was not fun for Missouri Tiger fans in 2004 because on November 20th, they had gotten beaten by Kansas at home in Columbia 31-14.
Ooh, okay, so it's still 20 years.
That's rough.
Yeah. That is rough.
Okay, we got to tell you about we got to give you our feelings about the National Football League. It was a great day in some regards.
Was it?
Oh, I love those Ravens. But there were also some interesting and not great things. First of all, we have a lot of Buffalo Bills fans here in the building, and we congratulate the Buffalo Bills.
Yes.
They beat the Chiefs by a score of 20-17, and on our sheet it says Bills 20, Chiefs 17, question mark, question mark.
Does it really? Wait, where is this at? Question mark. Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Wow, there is a lot of question marks.
It was a building sequence of question marks. So I had the Lions-Bears game was 1 question mark.
Yep.
The Bills-Chiefs games was 2, and then the Eagles-Cowboys was 3.
I didn't ask you for this. Can we get the highlight today? The Bills-Chiefs highlight. And if you didn't hear it yesterday on CBS, Jim Nantz and Tony Romo had the call, and we're watching it on the highlights on TV right now here on ESPN. But it is amazing that we had this cool play that really wasn't a cool play.
They send another blitz. Selling out. Flag on the play. Might be a free one. They've got Kelsey at the 30. Kelsey 25. Angling back. 20. Now he's going to lateral it back at the 15-yard line. It's Tony. 10, 5. Touchdown. Quarterback.
Number 19. Offense. Lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty.
Offsides by the offense. Lined up in the neutral zone.
One of the most exciting plays. A TD is wiped off the board and a 5-yard penalty.
I mean, why didn't the refs know that something just absolutely remarkable was about to happen there? Why would they do anything to ruin such a remarkable moment like that? They should have known better, Randy, right? I mean, that's the take we all have this morning, isn't it?
They should have known. You got to have some foresight. We know the games are scripted, so why not know?
How did they not know? Did they not get the script beforehand?
Maybe they just didn't read to the end.
Whoopsies.
On Saturday night, they're in their hotel room. Okay, Buffalo's going to win this.
Okay.
I'm going to bed. Here's Patrick Mahomes on the call.
It's something that, I mean, you, as a like I said, elementary school, we talk about, you line up, you point to the ref, you're good, you're not good. If not, they come to you, hey, you need to get off the ball more, you need to be on the ball more. You have a discussion. I mean, and that's the ref's job. I mean, you want to have an open discussion so that you can go out there and put the best product you can on the field. And for him to throw that flag, no explanation, no anything. And I saw the picture, and I mean, he probably is, I mean, barely offsides, but for him to take the game into his hands over a call like that doesn't affect the play at all, didn't affect anything. I mean, it's just tough, man.
Okay, Brooke, I got 2 quick things. Number one, I've done a lot of high school games over the years, and receivers always check with the officials.
They do.
Always, even at the high school level. College, pro. So Tony should have checked with the official. The other thing is, yeah, sure, it didn't impact the play, but it's the rule. It's still the rule. I mean, there are holding calls all the time that don't impact plays that get called, right? Mm-hmm. So you still have to play by the rules when you're a player. And I want to see Mahomes succeed, but the rule is the rule. So it is. You know,
it is.
So I feel bad for Chiefs fans this morning that their guy lined up offsides, but the fact of the matter is their guy lined up offsides.
100%. It was the right call to make there, especially when you go back and look at it. We're going to see the replay, I mean, a million times. Mm-hmm. If you didn't already see it on social media over and over and over again, Tony was offsides. There's no debate about it. I thought that maybe more of the frustration came the next play afterwards where Von Miller maybe kind of lined up and his head was in the neutral zone a little bit. Maybe that had something to do with it and why Patrick Mahomes was so infuriated. I think that's where he really, really got angry. But still, there was a difference there. And with Mahomes, his argument saying that, you know, that was an incredible play. It was really cool to watch, and it would have been an amazing story. It would have changed the whole conversation of the game today. today, we'd be like, man, Tony is the man. Why have we not been talking about him sooner?
Right.
But that's just not what happened there. It was the right call to make.
And the other part of it, at least from my perspective, and I have no idea what Patrick Mahomes is thinking, but he might be thinking, okay, there's a buildup here. Last week in Green Bay, we get screwed because they don't call the clear pass interference. And now this week, the refs, the officials get us again in the final minute. I wonder if it's just a buildup and a perception on his part that, hey, the referees are controlling things and we as the players aren't.
It feels like, the kind of classic argument that you have in your head when you're maybe talking to your significant other, where there's bigger things happening, maybe other things happening in your life, and it is a culmination of everything building up. And then it could just take one little moment to really tip things over. Also, mind you, with these post-game reactions, this is what I like about these post-game reactions is because they're so raw. You're talking to the players right after the game. I'm sure you saw in the video, it was all over social media last night, of Patrick Mahomes where he was basically upset about the call, and he said it while hugging Josh Allen as they were going out off the field. That is just raw emotion coming out. I know that it's not the best look, I would say, for Patrick Mahomes, but it was just a real reaction to the moment.
And if you're a Chiefs fan, you love your quarterback responding that way.
Passionate.
Right?
That's definitely a way to look at it, is passionate.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man, Tony, what else can you say about him at this point this season?
Right. If he's not hurt, he's lining up off sides. I think that's all we can say. Coming up on 101 ESPN, we have 3 things we loved about the weekend. Stick around. It's coming your way on the opening drive.
It's Monday Night Football tonight on ESPN. Dolphins and Titans. Pregame at 6:30. Kickoff at 7:15. The NFL lives on 101 ESPN.
Hey guys, this holiday, floor your family with a gift from Ambassador Midwest Floor. Buy a gift card for $500 or more and get an extra 10% bonus. They'll even gift wrap a digital photo frame filled with flooring ideas as your gift. Install it yourself or let their master craftsman do the work for you. Buy a gift card for $500 or more and get a 10% bonus. Shop online. Details at ambassadorfloor.com. Floor your family and experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor.
First down. Woo!
What first down? There was no first down.
Oh, yes, there is. See, my first wing is down, and here comes the second. Pass the ranch.
At Buffalo Wild Wings, we've got the wings and all the other things you love to eat. Boneless to traditional, burgers to nachos, even vegetarian options, and plenty of ice-cold drinks to wash it all down. So come on in with friends and family and enjoy great food and drink while you catch the game. Buffalo Wild Wings, official member of This Bar Bleeds Blue, presented by Bud Light.
McBride Homes has a big announcement for St. Louis. The 2023 McBride Homes Bracken Rights men's basketball game between Mizzou and the Fighting Illini is coming back home. This rivalry is one of St. Louis's greatest sporting traditions, and McBride Homes is proud to be the title sponsor again. McBride has over 40 communities throughout the area. Homes to fit every lifestyle and designed with you in mind. Don't miss the McBride Homes Bracken Rights game on Friday, December 22nd at Enterprise Center. Visit McBrideHomes.com for details.
As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers Stay Hot on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. I like putting parlay bets together, hammering the overs, and anytime player touchdown bets always have me on the edge of my seat. So if you're ready to do the same, visit FanDuel.com/win and kick off the NFL season. That's FanDuel.com/win. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
21 plus and present in Illinois. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame moneyline wager required. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Blues Hockey is on 101 ESPN, and BK and Ferrario have you covered. Tune in every Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for the latest Blues news as BK and Ferrario broadcast live from the E&B Granite Studios at the Centene Community Ice Center. Brought to you by Bud Light for the fans on game day and by E&B Granite, Bernie Federko's only choice for granite countertops, cabinets, and flooring. Live from the Car Shield studio, this is the opening drive on 101 ESPN.
Brooke, Matthew, Randy, Carrie is out today, but it's time for 3 things we loved about the weekend.
Number 3.
My number 3 thing is going to be saying goodbye to Tyler O'Neill.
No.
Tyler, we'll always remember 2021, especially Scott Boras. We'll also remember a lot of the injuries that followed and the infamous kerfuffle between you and Ollie Marmol. You will be sorely missed. And I said sorely because being sore definitely hindered you sometimes towards the end of your career. But on a serious note, Tyler O'Neill finally finding a new home in the Boston Red Sox this past weekend. As we saw, O'Neill was moved to the Red Sox, and the Cardinals got back a pair of depth arms in Nick Robertson and Victor Santos. And guys, it just felt like this needed to happen. And I'm honestly glad that it did happen because things have just really soured with Tyler O'Neill and the Cardinals over the years. And you could really tell. I would even point it back to when the arbitration happened between Tyler O'Neill and the Cardinals. Tyler, I will say just from my own media perspective, was always very honest and open and willing to talk to media members. And he made himself available when he was going through the arbitration with the Cardinals and spoke about how, you know, they tell you it's not going to be personal, you get in there and it's personal, which that's how all negotiations go, right? It's never fun to go through. So I felt like things really soured then, and then you had the kerfuffle you had with him and Ollie this season. It just felt like this needed to happen. I wish him nothing but the best, and hopefully this will be a new fresh start for him and the Cardinals.
And Mo joked at the winter meetings last week that when he traded O'Neill that he would get MVP votes. Top 10 American League MVP voting, contract year, motivated, probably healthy. Playing at Fenway, home games at Fenway. I'm going to go top 10 MVP.
Ooh. Why not? I'll take it.
Okay, good.
Seems to happen.
All right. I have to do my number 3, don't I? As you two know, we have a magnificent staff here at 101 ESPN, not just on-air people, but behind the scenes. And our sales staff is great. And we love all of our salespeople, and one of our favorites is Maggie Tozlowski, who got married on Saturday to Zach Cody. Congratulations to Maggie.
Congrats, Maggie.
Great wedding, and great to be with such great people. Her family and friends, and our Hubbard family. So many people were there and enjoyed it. And those two, those crazy kids, Maggie and Zach, are off to St. Thomas this morning, I believe. So congratulations and best wishes to them on a beautiful life together. But everything went off without a hitch. I talked to Maggie a couple times last week, and she had 3 different apps on her weather apps on her phone, and everything was telling her it was going to be cloudy and rainy. And I said, "Don't worry about it." And lo and behold, sunny and 60 on Saturday for the wedding.
I know, 60 degrees on Saturday. What was that about?
It was Maggie's wedding. It was the heavens taking care of Maggie.
When you guys were talking about that, I thought to myself, man, the first week of December, that's an interesting time for a wedding. And then it hit me. You hit like a 2-week honeymoon. Then you have Christmas. Then you have New Year's.
Yeah.
After like December 5th, you're not working for a month. Like except for like a spot day here and there, like you got to come into the office because like you catch her like a random Thursday, like after Christmas before like New Year or something like that. That's a smart play. And now you're in on an island for all December, for a big chunk of December. That's a pretty good. That's a pretty genius play. Wow.
So you're saying I should reschedule my wedding?
I'm saying it's an option.
No, June is good and traditional, and it might be warm, but still, no. June is a great respite.
There you go. Yeah, June's a great time for it. I mean, come on.
Number 2.
My number 2 is going to be Shohei Ohtani saying, "Show me the money, Dodgers." And he got that done this past weekend. Finally, Shohei Ohtani making his big decision. And guys, drum roll, please. Shockingly, it was the Dodgers. Who could have seen this coming?
Who saw that coming?
Nobody, right? Nobody saw it coming. And is it fair to say that his dog's name probably is Blue?
Blue, I think is very safe.
Did he reveal that?
It has not been revealed yet, but people are on the case. John Heyman says that he's on the case. I think Greg already told us, though, that Blue is the dog's name.
Yeah, Greg knows all, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He has the inside scoop. But Shohei Ohtani, 10 years, 700, I almost said 100 million. That would be shortchanging him by a lot. $700 million. $700 million, Randy.
It's like winning the lottery, except you have to play baseball.
That's just insane money. But in my opinion, he deserves it. Of course, we'll see how the back end of this contract looks, but everybody's more excited about this front end and the potential that he has. Of course, you're worried about the 2 surgeries that he's had, 2 UCL surgeries, but Shohei Ohtani is a unicorn for a reason. Very unique, special talent. So I'm excited to see what this will look like. Not excited to see how it will be when the Cardinals face the Dodgers. And what was that first week?
First 4 games of the season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Brooke, I'm in the same boat as you, but from a different angle. I like seeing things that I don't think will ever happen again. Mm-hmm. And I don't think we're going to see another $700 million player. And here's why. Because the Dodgers literally did pay him like 2 guys. They paid him like a $40 million pitcher and a $30 million hitter. Until somebody else does what Ohtani's done in 150 years of baseball, he's the only one. We aren't going to see that. You aren't going to pay. Now, you could see Juan Soto next year maybe getting $50 million a year for 10 years. But I think in my lifetime, and probably your lifetimes, we have seen the pinnacle of contracts in American sports. It's not going to happen in basketball or football or hockey because of salary caps.
Yes.
And it's unlikely to happen in baseball because you'll have to be able to do 2 things like Ohtani. So I believe, and this is my number 2 thing for the weekend, that we got the opportunity to see something this weekend that we will never see again.
How many people are going to start making sure their kids can pitch and hit and then push that on them even more? I know that's something that you're already doing anyways, but being like, no, you have to. All right, we're going to really study film of Shohei Ohtani. You have to be the next Shohei Ohtani here.
Yeah, I know it's going to happen. But then look at all the people that in the last 97, 07, 26 years have started the kids playing golf at 2. And how many Tiger Woodses do we have running around?
It's very true.
I'm saying Mason Wynn, though, might have a little bit of an argument against the Cardinals. Like, what'd you guys do to me here? Come on.
Yeah.
Number 1.
My number 1 is going to be that I successfully made matzo ball soup for the first time this past weekend. I was nervous. I was sweating, Randy. I really didn't know what to do or expect. It is kind of just like a chicken soup, right? But I have never made it before. I know that the matzo ball is a very big deal, and to not screw that up because you want a floater, not a sinker. That's very important. So I had to make sure that this thing would float, and it turned out great. That's what you say.
I had no idea that there was that connection to matzo ball soup. That was one part I had no idea.
Have you ever thought about it?
No, because I feel
it
like
floats.
Yeah, I guess now that I'm thinking of every visual I've seen of matzo ball soup, it's at least
it's in a bowl.
It's at least got a little bit over the broth.
Yeah,
nicely done, Brooke.
Floater, not sinkers in this household.
We're talking
I made
about
a floater,
and we're talking about matzo ball soup.
We are talking about matzo ball soup.
Okay,
floaters only, and I accomplished that this past weekend, and people went back for seconds. So that's how I know that it was great.
So Brooke, in the midst of all of this is 6:50 on Friday, sends us a picture of her exquisite work.
Yes, thank you.
And it looks like a magnificent meal, and I congratulate you because not only obviously was it well accepted for taste, but the presentation was fantastic as well.
Thank you. I'm all about plating. I'm big on plating.
Job.
So I did brisket with fingerling potatoes, roasted potatoes, around the brisket. Then we had the matzo ball soup, and then you have the latkes, and you have the applesauce and sour cream over there. Worked really hard on all this.
And Matthew and I were very excited because here you are with your fiance and your future in-laws, but you say, oh, you know what? I got to send my opening drive guys a picture of this.
I did. Yeah, I was like, oh, they got to see this.
Can I just say, any culture that has brisket and applesauce is doing, you know what? I'm cool with that. Invite me over and give me a whole plate of that. I'll be fine. That sounds fantastic.
And guys, my number 1... I vote for the Heisman Trophy, and you can't tell who you vote for the Heisman Trophy until it's been awarded. I did vote for Jaden Daniels number 1, but I was thinking, you know what? Our guy Cody Schrader needs some love. So I voted Daniels 1, Nix 2, Cody Schrader 3, thinking, okay, well, get him some points. He finished 8th, and he got a first place vote in the Heisman Trophy voting. So congratulations to our buddy Cody Schrader, friend of the show and friend of Fenton Bar and Grill, but 8th. Think about that. Of all the college football players in America this year. He was 8th in the Heisman Trophy voting, which was very, very cool. So congratulations to him and to the person that gave him the first place vote. You're cool. I think that's really cool. But I just think it's great that Mizzou is getting recognized to that level. Not that he won it, but he was a finalist. But Cody Schrader was playing at Truman State 3 years ago, and now he's top 10 in the Heisman Trophy voting.
The fact of the matter is if you had gone to any Mizzou fan and said before the season, hey, Cody Schrader is going to finish as the highest Mizzou player in the Heisman voting since Chase Daniel, the look on my face, I don't know how I would have contorted it, but it would have been a weird laugh of I like your optimism, but can I have what you're smoking? Because no one would have conceived of that before the game. I mean, Chase Daniel and Cody Schrader, the last two Mizzou players to get that kind of Heisman voting. That's inconceivable a year ago. It's inconceivable 6 months ago.
Yeah, now what we do need to do is get a bigger, higher profile for Mizzou, because at SI.com, a writer named Mike McDaniel, who may double as the coach of the Dolphins, I don't know, but he did write that what was more surprising was further down the list, where Oklahoma State running back Ollie Gordon II, Mizzou quarterback Cody Schrader, and Michigan quarterback J.J. McCarthy all finished well out of contention, but received exactly one first-place vote. So I wish that Mike McDaniel at SI would just get up to speed with Cody Schrader being a running back.
Are you saying that AIs can make mistakes?
I am saying that. Yes, they do.
Oh, okay. Because that's what that was, right? It was just an AI mistake.
Just an AI mistake. Yeah, it happens. I don't know if he's...
Gary's always said he didn't go to Mizzou because they ran the triple option.
It's true.
But I am excited for Cody Schrader. I mean, the fact that he was able to accomplish this season, and we talked about it, I think that he was the best story in college football this season, and I'm glad that especially towards the end of the regular season, he was getting more and more national credit. He got the Burlsworth Trophy. As we mentioned, he was in town for the Jack Buck Awards and won an award there, too. Just to get him all this national recognition, he deserves it. One of the best stories in college football this year.
That's 3 things we loved about the weekend on 101 ESPN. Coming up, 4 downs from Week 14 in the NFL on the opening drive on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. It was a down weekend for the St. Louis Blues as they have now lost 3 straight, including a 5-2 loss to the Blue Jackets on Friday and then a 3-1 loss to the Blackhawks on Saturday. The Blues now sit at 7 power play goals on the season and 7 shorthanded goals on the season, and they will be back in action on Tuesday. They host the Detroit Red Wings. It's a 6:30 p.m. puck drop here on 101 ESPN, which means we'll start your pregame show at 5:30. Also, over the weekend, triple header in college basketball. The Billikens come out with a win 71-68 over Hofstra in front of Jason Tatum. Kansas, number 2 overall in the nation, beats Missouri 73-64 at home. And number 17, Tennessee, outlasts number 20, Illinois, 86-79. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find a road and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
All right, time for 4 downs from the National Football League.
First down.
All right, I'm going to start with the Rams at the Ravens. And credit to the Rams as Matthew Stafford leads them on a 7-play, 57-yard drive at the end of regulation to get a Lucas Havrick field goal, tying the game at 31. Ravens have the ball first in overtime. Don't do anything with it. Rams have the ball second in overtime. Don't do anything with it. And Randy says, as the Rams are getting set to punt, why don't you just run it back for a touchdown? And the Ravens said, okay.
Ravens set to get good field position here. Tylan Wallace from the 25. Tylan Wallace breaks out of a tackle, takes it down the sideline. He stays in bounds. He stays on his feet. He takes it all the way and ends the game. There are no flags.
76 yards for Wallace for the win for the Ravens, who, oh, by the way, when you look at the standings now, have the inside track to home field throughout the AFC playoffs. They're 10-3. They do have a pretty rugged schedule coming up. They still have to play the 49ers in a couple of weeks. They're at Jacksonville on Sunday night. Then they go to San Francisco for Monday night, and Joe and Troy might have the Super Bowl preview there for the Ravens at the Niners. Then probably the game that decides the number 1 seed in the AFC. The Ravens have Miami at home before finishing up with the Steelers at home. Ravens are really, really good. Have trouble closing games out in the fourth, but that was a fun one because, as you know, Brooke, my favorite NFL team is the team that's playing the Rams.
I knew exactly that's where it was going. All of a sudden, a Ravens fan, huh, Randy? Well, just for the game.
We have my daughter is a huge Lamar Jackson and Ravens fan. She's got a lot of Ravens gear. So, yeah, that's kind of our household team.
Aw. Yeah. And what about your son?
He really doesn't. He's kind of like me. He doesn't have any real emotional attachment to the NFL anymore.
No. Just cut that loose. Unless a team beats the Rams.
Exactly.
Then that pride comes back.
Yeah.
Second down.
Mine is going to be, we had a good for him game moment this past weekend, and that good for him game was for Zach Wilson. That week, last week, as we know, started out with reports that supposedly he didn't want to play in his return if given the opportunity. Robert Saleh denied those reports, and Zach Wilson this past weekend went out there and he played really, really well. It was just a great game from him and the Jets. Even Robert Saleh saying that it was Zach Wilson's best game of his career. If you guys saw that, what happened, 27 of 36 passing for 301 yards with a pair of touchdowns. And it really was the best game of his career. But the biggest thing was just his response to that adversity, because all eyes were on Zach Wilson and whether or not he was going to start and what he would do in that start because of all of the drama surrounding him, the stories, the reports coming out. He's been really dragged through a lot this season, and I thought it was a great response from him.
And I wonder how much effect Aaron Rodgers had on him, basically saying, blanket, I'm just going to be me. And apparently his teammates, like I said, loved it. And he probably just needed, like Justin Fields said, sometimes I'm suppressed by the coaching. Maybe this guy just needs to walk away from the coaching and just start playing football. I think that's part of the NFL. The guys are expected to be robots.
Exactly. And maybe that's what it was. He just said, look, I know at the end of the day what's going to happen. Did this game really change him and his trajectory for the Jets in the grand scheme of things? No. But it was a game where he said, okay, I'm going to show you guys at least what I have and what I'm made of. And that could be very appealing for other teams too.
Absolutely.
Third down.
So, Brooke, when Jake Browning came in against Baltimore about a month ago, everybody thought, not everybody, but a lot of people thought that the Bengals season was over. And
it's okay. I thought that.
Yeah. Well,
in that camp.
It probably still is. But I watched their young quarterback, Jake Browning, just drop back and let it fly. And I love quarterbacks who don't have to think too much, and they just they play the game. I remember the very first time I saw Kurt Warner play in '98. I thought, wow, this guy just drops back and throws the ball. I hate it when quarterbacks look around and have happy feet. I don't hate it, but I would prefer a quarterback that just determines where the ball needs to go and then throw it there. Well, Jake Browning was 18 of 24 yesterday for 275 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 passing and 1 rushing, and an interception in the Bengals' 34-14 win over Indy. Browning is the second player since 1950 with a completion percentage of 70 or higher and a passer rating of 95 or higher in each of his first 3 career starts, joining Chad Pennington, who was with the Jets at the time. Browning has completed 79.3% of his attempts in his first 3 career starts, the highest completion percentage by a quarterback in his first 3 career starts since 1950. We're seeing history with Jake Browning here with the Bengals, and I'm really impressed with the young quarterback. This is the guy that they were talking about on the Monday night game with Joe and Troy. He had more than 200 touchdown passes. He had 91 touchdown passes as a senior in high school. Had like 229 touchdown passes in 3 years of high school football. He's got an unbelievable history, played at the University of Washington. And watch out for Jake Browning, because he might send old Joe Burrow packing.
No, I don't, Randy. No.
See, this is what you would have said. Trent Green traded by the Rams?
No. Sometimes history doesn't repeat itself in that way.
I love this guy. I think he's going to be really good.
My favorite part about hearing stats like that is the idea of just go back and think about how there was a 17-year-old for a couple of years there was ruining a couple 45-year-old coaches, defensive coordinators, just like nights of sleep. Like there was a 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid who was keeping adults awake at night. Like, this guy's going to throw 9 touchdown passes on us tomorrow. How am I going to go to bed right now? Like, that's a fact. I love it when Derrick Henry, you see his stats and you're like, a kid might have cried the morning of a game against him because you're like, this guy's going to go for 500 and he's going to destroy me.
Can we give credit where credit is due? He threw 10 touchdown passes in his high school debut.
Oh, wow.
His debut?
It was 9, yeah.
I'm guessing he was probably a freshman or a sophomore because he threw 200 in his career.
He didn't play as a freshman.
So, wow. I mean, still, though, some 16-year-old kid walks out and drops 10 on your head. Oh, that's a rough day.
Sounds like a movie in the making.
Yep. You have to go home and pay bills after that happens. Yep. God.
Sophomore year, 63 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. Junior year, 75 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. Senior year, 91 touchdowns and 7 interceptions for his career. 229 touchdown passes in 3 years and 40 interceptions.
Oh.
44-2 overall as a
legendary.
Yeah. Jake Browning.
4th down.
Well, this is going to be a sadder one because the Titans community is mourning the loss of one of their greats, number 89, Frank Wycheck. He passed away at the age of 52 this past weekend. Frank was a part of a lot of great Titans moments and memories, including this one, where he pulled off a miracle that will always be talked about in NFL history.
Do the Titans have a miracle left in them in what has been a magical season to this point? If they do, they need it now. Christie kicks it high and short. Going to be fielded by Lorenzo Neal at the 25. Pitches it back to Wycheck. He throws it across the field to Dyson.
He's got something.
30,
He's got
40,
something.
50,
He's got it.
40,
He's got it.
20, 10.
He's got it.
End zone. Touchdown Titans. There are no flags on the field. It's a miracle. Tennessee has pulled a miracle.
The moment that the Music City Miracle was born, and we will always remember Frank Wycheck for that spectacular moment, but also he continued his career in Nashville broadcasting. He was a huge part of the radio community in Nashville, and he will be sorely missed, and it's a huge loss. Randy, I talk about it all the time. It's because of the Music City Miracle. It's because of that Titans team with Steve McNair, Eddie George, Frank Wycheck, all the greats that you could go on and on. The reason why I'm in sports and love sports so much, growing up watching that's where where my sports fandom was born. So I'm very grateful to have been able to witness that. But also some of the greatest NFL players I've ever seen. I don't know if we'll ever see NFL teams like this ever again. The greatest show on turf and the Music City Miracle. I don't think we'll ever see anything like that in the NFL ever again. It was just such a spectacular time in the NFL.
Yeah, at the same time, to have those memorable events occur. And 52, just way too young. So
Yes.
our rest in peace, Frank Wycheck. That's Brooke. I'm Randy. Coming up on 101 ESPN, get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho! Take it or leave it next on 101 ESPN. Hey, guys, if you aren't feeling as sharp on this Monday morning as you did when you were younger on Monday mornings, could be an issue with low T. And low testosterone affects every guy past the age of 30. Your testosterone level drops. And not only does it have an effect on you physically, does it take a toll on your ability just to stay sharp mentally, but physically you don't have that stamina physically that you used to have to get through a workout or to get through a run or to coach your kids' teams at night. It makes a difference when you go to Mentality to restore your testosterone level. They have an FDA-approved testosterone treatment that will restore not only your physical stamina to get through those days, but your mental acuity as well. If you are fatigued and tired all the time, if you're moody or irritable, could be an issue with low T. So go to lowtusa.com, and Mentality will take you through the process of finding out where your testosterone level is and then restoring it with an FDA-approved testosterone treatment. And they're going to work with your insurance company to have the least amount of out-of-pocket expense possible. I use Mentality, and I think you should too. I see guys in there having success with it every single week, and all you need to do to get started is go to lowtusa.com.
Time for Take It or Leave It.
Want to say something? Put it out there. If you like it, you can take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your Take It or Leave It.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
Get your text in now to the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399.
Yo-ho.
Brooke, Randy, and Matthew. And Matthew, I hate you. I just want you to know. I hate you, okay?
I mean, Randy, it happens. I mean, I deal with it. Sometimes, you just got to walk through this world and not care what the other people think.
Aww.
I don't know how that was
Say you're sorry,
Randy. That was an awe moment.
Because it was sweet. Now say you're sorry, Randy.
Sorry, Matthew. Carrie Davis is taking a vacation day today. All right, kids. The Aiming High Foundation in L.A. raises funds for those seeking help with mental health and substance abuse issues. And this weekend at an Aiming High Foundation fundraiser, somebody spent $25,000 to have dinner with Hall of Famer Jerry West. Take it or leave it. There is somebody out there that, if you had the wherewithal, you would spend $25,000 to have dinner with.
$25,000?
Yeah, there's a couple.
Okay, got to be alive.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's an author who writes a book series. He won't write the next book in the series, so I'm like, you know what? I'm pinning you down in the corner. He also is a huge Giants and Jets nerd.
Okay.
He likes to talk about the draft.
What's his name?
George R.R. Martin. He did the Game of Thrones show.
Okay.
He's the one who wrote the books. If I could pin that SOB down and finally get him to give me some answers on why it's taken him 14 years to write one book, I'd pay $25,000 for that in a heartbeat.
But then he'll probably tell you no. And then do you feel like you got your $25,000 worth from that?
In the chest.
How long do you get with this person?
An evening, 3 hours.
3 hours?
Yeah, 3 hours of dinner. Yeah. Talk, eat.
Am I like a millionaire in this fantasy situation too? Because I don't want to spend $25,000.
So you have a net worth of $1 million.
You have the means.
Oh, okay.
You have the means, yeah.
Comfortably do it.
Yeah. I would love to meet Serena Williams. That's been my idol. So just to be able to hang out with her, that'd be amazing.
It'd be fun.
I would try to convince her to be my friend so that we could really get our money's worth
and
there.
You wouldn't have to spend $25,000. Yeah, that'd be good.
Exactly. She'd be like, you keep it.
Try to convince
We had such a great conversation.
I'm trying to convince her to be my friend. Normally how good friendships are started.
So how about Charles Barkley? Would anybody want to do dinner with Charles Barkley? As long as he didn't throw anybody through the window.
No. Hold on a second. It's contingent on that.
Yeah, that he couldn't throw anybody through the window.
That he will throw somebody through a window.
Good one too.
Wait, so that's part of the deal? You want somebody to do that to you?
For $25,000, if it includes Charles calling somebody a knucklehead and then throwing him through a window, I'll double it. Take 50.
I'll bet if they would get the NBA Tonight crew together, they could get more than $25,000 for a dinner.
Oh, yes, they could.
With Charles, Shaq, Kenny, and
yeah.
You could get $1 million from somebody to sit a four top.
Yeah. Or you could and they do it where you could sit on the set with them. You could have that. Oh, that would be a big one.
Yeah. All right, Matthew, what do we got on the text line there?
Did you not?
No, I didn't do mine yet.
I'm sorry, man. I'm used to going to Carrie here.
I finally redeemed myself.
No.
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
Oh.
Okay, I know it's going to be great.
Hey, Cagney, you shot and missed on which one it is.
It's me. It's me. Randy. You forgot all about me. To be fair, I was talking a lot there, so it's okay. I guess. I won't hold it against you. I guess.
Thanks for not holding it against me.
No, totally going to forget about this and not be thinking about it the rest of the day. Anyways, take it or leave it. The issue and what Patrick Mahomes is truly angry about is that he's angry about his wide receiver room.
Yes.
I'll take that. Yeah, good call. Really good call. Yeah, they don't really have Tyreek Hill there, do they? Or Juju Smith-Schuster?
No.
No, it's, when you have Marquez Valdez-Scantling and you're counting on penalty calls against him, and even Rice with that big fumble yesterday. And I know Rice is a member of Rogers Darkness Retreat, but he had a bad, they had multiple bad fumbles deep into Buffalo territory. Yeah, I can see how Patrick would be upset with that receiver room.
They're going to be gone. Is anybody going to stay except for Rice, maybe?
I think MVS might have another year left on his contract. But what do they do? Because they don't have cap room, so they just have to develop kids, maybe draft another one. I don't know.
I mean, but you see with a guy like Sky Moore, it's, you got to have a couple flash plays and still really amount to, not really a good wide receiver.
I think Sky is probably a guy that will not be back to Brooks Point.
Yes, that one.
So, and we're leaving the other. There's another young receiver there that makes plays now and then. But you're right. Their receiver room is.
Well, that's not a good thing if we can't remember who it is.
That's right.
That means they're definitely not doing anything.
Man, because he used to be, and Hardman is hurt, but it used to be they had the big guys, but DeMarcus Robinson had come up with a play, or Hardman had come up with a play. Now they don't have those random guys that come up with plays anymore.
No.
If you're Rashid Rice, man, you have quite the runway in front of you. If you just show out in practice, it's like you're getting 17 targets from the best quarterback in football. Have fun with that one.
Yeah, really.
Take it or leave it. The Shohei contract that the Dodgers just gave out only creates more of an argument for a salary cap in Major League Baseball. It just seems silly that one player can make more than entire teams.
I'm going to leave that, and Brooke, here's why. Because a guy got a $700 million contract.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a player, you say, well, clearly these teams can afford it. So, and if you can't afford it, you bought the wrong franchise.
Yeah, exactly. It brings up a bigger discussion, too, of do you ever see a salary floor happening?
No, and that was one thing in the last CBA that the players rejected out of hand because a floor would lead to a cap.
Exactly.
And the players don't want that. And the players don't care about the guys that are making $750,000. By the way, is it $790 now the minimum? I think the league minimum by the end of this deal goes up to like $900,000 or more. So the players aren't bothered by that.
Of course the players aren't. And I'm sure some owners aren't too. And that's part of the issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because some owners are benefiting from not having salary floor where they don't have to do much. I'm looking at you, Pirates and A's.
And taking the money and pocketing the revenue sharing money too.
Exactly.
We're going to take it or leave it from the YouTube chat because, of course, if you're watching us on the Airlines team cameras, you can also chat with us on YouTube. And John says, take it or leave it. The Chiefs missed the offensive discipline that Coach Eric brought to the team.
I will take that because I do think that there is a group of players that are losing the football, and there isn't that attention to detail with ball security that was there when Bieniemy was there. I will agree with that. Justin Watson, by the way, was the other receiver that I was trying, number 84. I was trying to think of.
Yeah, he does come up with some big catches here and there. Take it or leave it. The Chiefs are going to lose the AFC West to the Broncos.
Ooh, I think it's interesting, but I don't think they are.
You're not fully bought in on the Broncos?
The Broncos are, I think they might wind up being a playoff team. But here's the Chiefs now. They go to New England. They get Vegas at home. They've got Cincinnati at home, and they're at the Chargers. I don't think the Chiefs are going to lose again.
I don't know. I don't know what to expect with this NFL season anymore. You never know.
You don't. But those are, if they lose another game, if Kansas City loses another game, that will be disastrous for them.
Mm-hmm.
And Denver, by the way, Denver's a game behind, and they split, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Denver is at Detroit next week, actually Saturday on NFL Network.
Oh, yeah.
And then they've got the Patriots at home, Chargers at home, and at the Raiders. So they need to, let me make sure that I got that right about the Chiefs game. They lost the first one and won the second one, so they split. So I'm going to say that the Chiefs still win that division. It would come down to division record, right? Let me see what the division record is.
Head-to-head, yeah. The division
head-to-head, they split.
Yeah, and then you said it's division record after that.
Yeah.
And then it's common opponents.
Yeah. So right now, KC in the division is 3-1. Denver's 2-2. So if KC wins, they're in.
Take it or leave it. Sean McDermott's speech to his team from 2019 was replayed before the Chiefs game, and that's why they won. They stuck together as a team.
I'm going to leave that.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think that's what happened there?
Not quite, no. I think he probably thought better of utilizing that one again.
Yeah.
Probably.
Maybe.
One more?
Yes, take it or leave it. A QB wins MVP, and it's Purdy over Dak.
Ooh.
That's a toughie.
Tyreek Hill, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, man.
It's always going to be a quarterback though.
I'm going to go with the narrative of Dak.
Ugh.
Yeah, I know.
Was that painful for you to say?
It was. Yeah, it is.
Randy, you don't have to go throw up in the corner after saying that.
I kind of think I do. I'd rather vote for C.J. Stroud.
I know.
He's having a good year. And he's got talent, but Purdy's got talent around him. Leads the league in touchdown passes now by 3. 28 touchdown passes, 6 interceptions. I mean, he's thrown for a bunch of yards. I don't know right now how you would vote against Dak Prescott. His numbers are better than Purdy's, and Purdy's got better talent around him.
There's no way there's another state that has had 3 different colleges with MVP quarterbacks, is there?
With Texas?
Texas and California would be the other one. Mississippi would be...
Oh, you mean that turned out?
Yeah, because you'd have Favre, Eli never won MVP, won Super Bowl MVP. Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
No, we'd have to think about this. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Randy.
And thank you very much for your text. We do appreciate it. Coming up here on 101 ESPN, the Cardinals have signed inning eaters. Are they actually cutting edge again? That's next on 101 ESPN. As we head down the stretch of 2023, I want you to know about insurance, and especially your health insurance. And if you don't have health insurance or are looking for a spot to get great health insurance, get in touch with my friend and fellow Parkway North alum, Jordan Krugman. He is the health insurance guy at thehealthinsuranceguy.net. His personal cell number, you can reach him now, is 314-602-4055. And with health insurance being very complicated, Jordan's a guy that makes it simple. He has access to a wide variety of plans for you, and he'll find the right plan for you at the right price. There's never a broker fee, never a hidden charge with the health insurance guy, and he can do things for a multitude of people. Here's an example. A client of Jordan's son recently got injured playing soccer, and they took a trip to the ER. And due to how Jordan structured their plan, the $5,000 deductible was waived, and they only had to pay $100 out of pocket to get that injury taken care of. Jordan will meet you at his office or over the phone or on a Zoom, and he's going to save money for you. Healthcare.gov is a last resort. You need to contact Jordan Krugman first. He is the health insurance guy at thehealthinsuranceguy.net. Call 314-602-4055.
Day's top stories. It's the Opening Drive's Fresh Take.
I think for a lot of us here in St. Louis, our introduction to really good baseball included back end of the rotation innings eaters, a guy that would just kind of take one for the team if you needed it, and didn't necessarily have the Cy Young resume, but a guy that at that time gave you 200 innings. And he may have gone 11-11, but gave you 200 innings and had a high ERA, but was important for a couple of reasons. Number one, he reset the bullpen so that you could get back to the front end of your rotation. And by the way, at that time, everybody gave you innings. It was just the way it was. But the other thing that innings eater did is would come up with that occasional gem and provide you a great opportunity. For those of you that watched the Cardinals during the 2000s with their best teams, 04 and 05, and the team that won in 06, Jason Marquis was that back end of the rotation guy that could provide you a lot of innings. Well, the Cardinals assigned those guys, and I think that there's a lot of people that think, okay, the Cardinals needed to sign a bunch of aces. They needed to sign Nola and Snell. That was never going to happen. I think what people wanted, and by the way, Aaron Nola is an innings eater, Snell is not, but what I still want, I think the Cardinals have masterfully handled this offseason with the signings of Lynn and Gibson and Gray. They've gotten off to an incredible start. Now all they need to do is put the cherry on top and get the number one. But there's a great piece in The Athletic about how teams now, managers want innings eaters, but nobody's developing innings eaters anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the big conversation, right? Is this something that goes to the minor league system? Because I don't know. I mean, it seems like that it starts with development, right? They should be training starters in the minor league system to go and throw 6+ innings in the minors, and also how to navigate through a lineup 3 or, Randy, this is going to be shocking, maybe even 4 times.
No.
Maybe just to see how they can handle that adversity, because then you all of a sudden can't just learn that at the big league level, can you? Because that just does not work out well. And maybe that's why some of these managers have, such a quick pull on some of these starters, because they know that they haven't done that at the minor league system. So why would you expect them to do it at the big league level?
And Brooke, think about the Seattle pitcher. Was it George Kirby that had a no-hitter in the 8th and lost the no-hitter and said, I shouldn't have been in the game? Mm-hmm. And not only physically are pitchers not prepared to throw a bunch of innings. I mean, you never see pitchers going over 100 pitches anymore. It used to be people went over 100 pitches all the time. But mentally, those guys are looking over their shoulder now. They get to the 6th inning or sometimes the 5th, and they're thinking, they're going to come out to get me. Alek Manoah of the Blue Jays is a guy who hates coming out of games. He loves to at least take the shot at the full game. And I love the fact that the Cardinals have these old school guys. And I think, to your point, one of the things the Cardinals could do that would be cutting edge is develop their young pitchers to get into or past the 7th inning. Wouldn't that be a novel concept to have a guy think, okay, well, first of all, Adam Wainwright planned on completing every single game he ever started. He wanted to throw complete games. And it used to be that you'd throw complete games and it was no big deal. Even a guy like Marquis, let me give you a snapshot of Jason Marquis in 2004, 15-7 with a 3.7 ERA, 201 1/3 innings, and let's see. Do we have I don't have the CG stat here, but here it is. He didn't have any, but he had 3 in 05 when the Cardinals won 100 games, and he threw 207 innings. This is what the guy we're talking about. 13-14, 4.13 ERA, but over 200 innings and 3 complete games. Those pitchers don't exist. And to your point, if somebody would start developing them, and you have to, by the way, buck an agent, because an agent's going to call and say, hey, you're throwing my guy too many innings. And you say, well, you know what? We drafted him. we signed him. He's our property. Well, we're going to do what we want with this guy. And you develop a guy to turn into a horse. I think that would be something when Bill DeWitt talks about his competitive advantage as a franchise. That's something that would greatly enhance the Cardinals, because then all of a sudden, if you're getting 7 innings out of a pitcher, you only need 6 innings out of your bullpen, changes the entire dynamic of the way the game is played.
Yeah, the innings eater can help preserve your entire pitching staff. And so I get the line of thinking, because last season the Cardinals were in such a bind because their bullpen was being overused. Don't you remember having that conversation pretty early on in the Cardinals season of, man, we are really pulling these starters early. This bullpen is going to have noodle arms by the end of the season, and the bullpen did not do well. Of course, the starters did not do well either, but still, the bullpen was greatly overused, and by having inning eaters there, then hopefully you can preserve this pitching staff a little bit better than you did last season. And I do think it goes back to the minor league system of developing these guys, training them mentally and physically to be more of a workhorse and handle that, going through the lineup 3, maybe even 4 times, just getting in that mental state. Because if you're in that situation, with anything in life, right? If you haven't done it, then it's going to be harder to do it at a bigger level, bigger stage with more pressure on you.
And you also give athletes who at some point are going to have to deal with adversity the opportunity to deal with adversity. Deal with a guy on third with nobody out in the 8th inning, and don't just take him out.
Yes.
Right? Just let him win or lose a game himself. Start that in the minors. But that's one thing we know about Lynn and Gibson and Sonny Gray, is that Lynn and Gibson more than Gray. They're going to get you into a position because of their grit and determination where they'll battle through some muck to get you to the 7th inning. And I really think that that's an important thing for the Cardinals, especially because we don't know how good their bullpen is going to be.
No, we don't know what their bullpen is going to look like. And maybe that's the Cardinals. That was the big whole point of them making these moves early on, is to at least get some insurance, because we talked about the starting rotation needs to be problem that you're addressing. Number 1, bullpen should be 1A. And with this at least helps in that regard. But if you're the Cardinals now, okay, you see the value in innings eaters, and maybe other teams will as well. I mean, with Aaron Nola, he's in that category of being a workhorse, and he got paid a lot of money by the Phillies. So there is value in innings eaters. If you're the Cardinals, you start to work on developing that more, or can you, considering with what you mentioned, Randy, that you have agents and even analytics possibly hindering you from doing that?
You need to have, at least in my opinion, you need to have a real strong belief in what you're doing, and you have to be able to tell an agent no. And sometimes that's going to bother the agents, but the kid that you love from Stanford that the Cardinals drafted, that threw like 156 pitches in a game.
Yes.
I think that would be something that you tell the agent. Say, look, the kid did it in college. Why didn't you tell him just to leave the game in college? But that's the kind of kid where you say, okay, he knows how to do it already, and you let him deal with it. I really believe that there is a way for Major League Baseball to work around this. Nolan Ryan tried to do it with the Rangers when he was in charge of the Rangers, and the agents went nuts. But you just have to have the conviction and say, okay, to the agent, this is ultimately going to be better for your client because he'll be a unicorn. Nobody else is preparing your client to do what this guy is going to be able to do, and he can make a lot of money for a long time.
Quinn Matthews.
Yeah. So,
from Stanford.
And he's a big guy. And, just let him be a horse. Let him be an innings eater. Because right now, and the Cardinals, we had it last year. The Cardinals wouldn't let guys be innings eaters. And that's the other part about this. Lynn, Gibson, Gray, Ali Marmol has to be able to extend those guys and say, okay, you've thrown 107 pitches. We're going to let you go 120 by letting you throw a 7th inning. And those guys, they don't care. They want to throw the pitches. They want to throw the innings. So let Ali do what he wants to do and get those guys into a 7th inning. Hopefully that's it. And the line, this is the money line from John Mozeliak at the winter meetings. He said in this story in The Athletic, we aggressively targeted innings. And then the writer, Chad Jennings, goes on to write, not strikeouts, not velocity, not spin rate, innings. And that is massive, and I think that's a huge thing for the Cardinals, so congratulations to them.
There you go. Just real quick before we head out, because I know we have to get to Kerbs, but somebody texted this in from the 636. Pitching, you're forgetting the Cardinals' current manager relies too much on analytics. Will that be different this year? When you're talking about pulling pitchers early, it will have to be different this year, right?
Yes, and I'm not so sure that it's... that's why I said the front office needs to let Ollie do what he wants, because... I think Ollie probably looks at the game a little differently than the analytics nerds, as people have been inclined to call them in the past.
I think you called him that.
Okay. It's just, I've heard it from...
Those guys who are saying that
I've heard it from inside baseball. But I think if that's not a part of the pregame meeting, if you don't say, okay, the script says that this pitcher can only throw 99 pitches and you got to get him out at 5 1/3, I think Ollie would be willing to use the eye test. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that he needs to be allowed to manage, because that is his title.
That's a novel concept,
It kind of is, yeah. I don't think Tony La Russa, when he was... can I get... Okay, we're going to get to Kerbs, but Kerbs will like this. Down the stretch in 06, okay? The Cardinals are playing a home game against Milwaukee, and they had a terrible September. And this was a game where the Cardinals... They had to have the weekend. It's his last home game. It's a Friday night, and Marquis is out there, and he only goes 2 innings. He allows 6 runs on 5 hits and only 43 pitches. But Tony had to get him out of there. But he shouldn't have even gone 2. He wound up going 2. He should have only gone 1, but Tony was willing to let him take one for the team. His game before that was the one I was thinking of. 5 1/3. He allowed 3 runs on 9 hits. And again, probably shouldn't have been out there for that long, but Tony let him go. You need to have those guys that have the mentality to be able to take one for the team. And that's another thing that Gray and Lynn, Gibson and Lynn specifically can do. They can allow 4 runs in the first and still give you 6 innings, and that's an important thing, too.
It is.
Coming up, the Blues are back in action tomorrow night. It is Punch a Red Wings fan in the face day here in St. Louis, and Chris Kerber is going to join us to talk about celebrating next on 101 ESPN. Kids, Christmas Day is 2 weeks from today. Just thought you should know, and I'm going to give you an idea. Take care of your holiday shopping with a gift that your family will love, not just this year, but for years to come. It's called Sound Story, and you can do it in a matter of a couple of clicks with a gift card at mysoundstory.com. It's a professionally produced hour-long conversation, and you or a family member or a loved one will be interviewed by either myself or Tim McKernan or Anthony Stalter, and we'll send you an audio file that has the entire interview on it that your descendants will be able to hear and you'll have access to forever. And with Sound Story, you or your loved one's voices and stories are saved for your family forever. And now, You or you and your siblings can go in on a gift certificate for your parents and get them a sound story at mysoundstory.com. And for a limited time, enter the promo code ESPN and get 20% off that sound story gift certificate. Listen to a podcast interview with your grandparents or your mom or your dad and listen to it forever. Just go to mysoundstory.com and enter the promo code ESPN to get this holiday special of 20% off a gift certificate for Sound Story. That's promo code ESPN at mysoundstory.com. Sound Story for you, for them, forever.
It's time for KerbSide with the voice of the Blues, Chris Kerber. Brought to you by Scott Lee Heating Company, a proud Mitsubishi Electric Elite contractor.
Kerry is out today. It's Brooke and Randy in the opening drive, and Chris Kerber joins us here, as he does every Monday morning here on 101 ESPN. Kerbs, I don't know if you were listening. We were just talking about the baseball innings eater, and I know that you and I have similar thoughts about baseball, but I kind of equate the innings eater in baseball, the innings eating back of the rotation guy, kind of like Barrett Jackman at the end of his career, a guy who could give you a ton of effective minutes, but really isn't appreciated. And I wonder, Kerbs, if that hockey player really exists anymore. You know, that inning, that minute muncher, third pairing defenseman.
Yeah, well, I wonder if that's the role that Robert Bortuzzo is going to be playing for the New York Islanders now.
I thought of that name.
As one of the options. I think the game has changed enough, Randy, where they're looking. I just don't think you're looking for just kind of that solid, go out on the third pair, don't make any mistakes, keep things as it is, and then, put that next pairing in a better spot on the ice than when you started. And because I just think top to bottom, they're looking for production from everybody. They're looking for mobility from everybody. They're looking for speed and puck moving. So the game itself is a little bit different, but come playoff time, those guys that you're talking about, those reliable, get on the ice for 15 minutes and not make many mistakes are very, very valuable. So they do exist. Luke Shen in Nashville, I think, might be that guy right now, something like that. So they're out there. It's just not as many of them.
Along those lines, Brooke and I talked about this earlier as well. Do you think a team like the 2019 Blues can make a run anymore, or has the game gone away from consistent hard work and to maybe inconsistent skill so much that a team like that one will have difficulty? Because it's hard to find the guys. It's hard to find 18 guys that aren't superstars to work that hard.
I actually think, Randy, that if you can – I think that they could not only win another cup, that group together, I think they could dominate. I just look at what Vegas was quite a lot like that 2019 team. They're just hard to hit, good size on the defense, good goaltending, hard to get through. You come into the zone, you go into a corner, you are going to get hit. The puck moving ability and their skill, from the first line through the fourth line. So I actually still think that that's the recipe to win versus the other way.
Kerbs, obviously a very tough weekend for the Blues and some very interesting and frustrating comments coming out of the locker room, especially from the captain and Braden Shen. This one I found the most interesting, where he said, it's not everyone, but you can't just choose when you want to show up. Who is he talking about there?
Well, I think first off, you honestly have to look at that weekend, and if you're going to be fair about it, you're going to say that's a very disappointing weekend. Those were 2 winnable games, right? And instead of sitting 3 points behind Nashville now, who's jumped up at you, you've only got a 3-point lead over Minnesota. You'd still be in a wild card spot and knocking on the door of third place in the division, rather than sitting on a 3-game losing streak and about to take on the teams you're going to take on this week. So, yeah, it was a very disappointing weekend, but not even so much because of the losses, but because of how the losses happened. There were just times where the play wasn't there, and these 2 teams that are not very good took it to the Blues really well. Look at scenarios like you had Sammy Blais as a healthy scratch. You had Alexandrov as a healthy scratch. They went down to the minor leagues to call up Hugh McGing to take the place of healthy hockey players that have been in the NHL all year, right? Kasperi Kapanen was on a 4th line in a checking role, with Toropchenko and Oscar Sundqvist. Verana was out of the lineup, got back into the lineup. There's things like that, and we're talking there, and we're talking like 3 guys, for example. And I'm not saying that Shen was calling these 3 guys out, but I'm using this as an example. Look at how those 3 guys played in the final 20 games of the regular season last year and compare it to what you're seeing now. Now, is it fair completely? You've got a team that was out of it. There wasn't any pressure last year. You name it. It's a little bit different than teams fighting and clawing to try to make the playoffs. Okay, so the pressure is different. But you're looking at 3 very solid top 9 players that right now one was out of the lineup, one was on the 3rd line, and one was on the 4th line. That's just hard to fill. There's only been 1 forward for the St. Louis Blues this year that's elevated his game to where he's moved up the lineup, and that's Jake Neighbors. And there's been some consistency with Buchnevich in the last couple of games. I think Robert Thomas has been really good. And even Shen will tell you that his production isn't where it needs to be, right now, and especially on the power play for all those guys. So, I don't think he wanted to lump everybody in, but at the same time, there's more than just 1 or 2 that he's referring to, where it's an all-around team game. To Randy's question about, what does it take to win now? This team has to be a sum of its parts, and when you don't have all the parts really putting the work ethic in to win, the puck battles, if you can get to it, that kind of thing, and that's where I think they struggled the most over these last 2 games, was winning puck battles. It's hard for them to win because you're always chasing the puck. You're always chasing the game if you play that way. And so accountability was something that was being talked about. And, it's one thing to say it to the microphone, but we'll see if it happens when it's talked about in the locker room.
Kerbs, it's been an interesting schedule, to say the least. Now the Blues have a 3-game homestand, go on the road for 2, then another 3-game homestand, and then as you head into January, you go on the road. But then in January, you have a stretch of 4 out of 5 at home, 5 out of 6 at home. Do you think home cooking can benefit this team? Consistent home cooking can benefit this team over the course of the next month?
Well, it has to. It has to. You're going to get a really good snapshot of where you're at over the next month without a shred of doubt. You just finished a stretch of 11 out of 15 on the road, and you went 7-8 during that stretch. There were winnable games in that mix. Those last 2 we talked about, the San Jose game. You had the 2-goal lead on Vegas. You could have come out of that stretch probably with 3 or 4 more wins, and we're talking about a really exciting press at this point going into the Christmas holiday. Instead, you're chasing it. You've got a goal differential of -12. You've got to right the ship now as you're about to begin 11 of 15 on home ice, to your point. So to me, it's critical for them to take care of business on home ice to stay in the thick of things right now. Look, you're disappointed with the way the weekend went, but look at the standings, and you find yourself right now just 1 point out of a wild card spot. So this Western Conference hasn't been a juggernaut. You're at 500. You can build still from there and go from there. But the biggest indicator, Randy, and I know right now it might look a little bit different because you've got like the Washington Capitals at -8 and in a playoff spot. But go back over, say the last 15 years, and you only see 1, maybe 2 teams that might make the playoffs each year with a minus goal differential. You can look at all the metrics, everything you want. I'm telling you, one of the biggest indicators of a playoff team is goal differential. And you got to find a way to get the plus. So they've been giving up way too many goals of late, and that's where I think the focus on home ice is going to have to be.
Kerb's, always good to hear your voice. Don't forget tomorrow's a 6:30 start.
Oh, I'm glad you told me that. I'm going to put that on my phone right now.
Okay, appreciate it. You have a great day and a great week, brother. We'll see you soon.
All right, guys. Talk to you next week. See you.
That's the voice of your St. Louis Blues here on 101 ESPN. Chris Kerber, great to have him with us. Coming up next, it's the fight. Stick around. Do you need a fighter, Matthew?
Yes, you beat up on Preston on Friday, so he is not going for the Hall of Fame today, so we do need a fighter.
So if you'd like to fight, just text in to our text line 314-399-9646, 314-399.
Yo-ho!
Your name, the word fight, and maybe Matthew will pick you to fight me next on 101 ESPN. Hey, maybe you're going to be at a holiday party over the next week or so, and you look at people's floors and you say, man, that's great flooring. I wish I had flooring like that. If you want to upgrade the flooring in your home, then you need to go to Ambassador Midwest Floor. They have an amazing selection. They have facilities in Glendale, and stop by the Chesterfield Valley store and say hi to Laura, and allow your family to enjoy great flooring. And they've got a great deal right now where if you buy a gift card for $500 or more, you get an extra 10% bonus from Ambassador Floor. Learn more at ambassadorfloor.com. And when you go in, they've got an amazing selection, as I said. They've got that luxury vinyl. That's the hottest flooring there is. They've got great tile. They've got unbelievable carpets. And you can let their design staff help you choose the best floors or for your budget and style. And what they'll come up with will be amazing. And you can pick out flooring, and they'll give you a gift wrap digital photo frame filled with photo ideas that you can gift at the holidays. And then you can put family photos on that digital frame after you use it to pick out the perfect flooring for your home. Learn more at ambassadorfloor.com. But if you see some floors that you like and you say, I want to upgrade, start at Ambassador Midwest Floor.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Over the weekend, the Blues dropped 2 to some of the bottom teams in the entire NHL, including a 5-2 loss to the Blue Jackets and then a 3-1 loss to the Blackhawks. They'll try to get back in the W column tomorrow night against the Red Wings. It's a 6:30 p.m. puck drop, which means you're going to have a 5:30 p.m. pregame right here on 101 ESPN and 101ESPN.com. Also over the weekend, college basketball, the Billikens get a big win over Hofstra, 71-68 with Jason Tatum sitting in the front row. Number 2, Kansas Jayhawks over the Missouri Tigers, 73-64. And Brooks, Tennessee Volunteers, number 17 in the nation, with a big 86-79 victory over Kerry Davis's number 20 ranked Fighting Illini. That is your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American heating and air conditioning dealer.
Welcome to the fight. In the red corner, Average Joe Listener. And in the blue corner, the undisputed king of morning drive. Please welcome Randy Kerber.
Good morning and welcome back to the opening drive. Brooke Grimsley here alongside Matthew Rocchio, and it is time for the fight. And that means that somebody is fighting Randy Kerber today, and that somebody is Kyle. Kyle, how are you doing this morning?
Awesome. How are you doing, Brooke?
Good, good. Are you ready to take on Megamind in the fight today? It's a whole weekend off, so he's rested and ready. How do you feel about that?
Has he had a propel?
Did he have one when he exited the room?
I think he might have had one to start off the day, yeah.
He usually has one, and he took grapes out, and the grapes have been fueling him.
I can see him right now. He's got grapes and Diet Dr. Pepper.
Oh, he's got a Diet Dr. Pepper.
That's going to be
He's
tough.
just chowing down on grapes.
Tough combination.
It is. All right. Well, Kyle, you ready to take on Randy in the fight?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's get started. Patrick Wisdom is sometimes listed as a Cardinal prospect who got away with his success in Chicago. Which team did the Cardinals trade him to on this day back in 2018? Was it the Diamondbacks, the Marlins, or the Rangers?
Diamondbacks.
Antonio Gates has the most receptions for an undrafted player with 955, but which receiver is the only other undrafted player to eclipse 900 catches? Is that Marcus Colston, Wes Welker, or Rod Smith?
Man. Wes Welker. I'll go with Wes.
Shohei Ohtani's contract averages out to $70 million per year, which would be higher than this past year's total team salary for 2 franchises, the Oakland A's and which other AL team? Is it the Orioles, the Royals, or the Rays?
I would have guessed the Pirates, so I'm glad you said AL. I would say, let's go with the Rays.
Is it the Rays?
Yes, sir.
All right, perfect. Last night, Cowboys kicker Brandon Aubrey hit both a 59 and 60-yard field goal in the same game, the first time that has ever been done. Undrafted by the NFL, which pro sports league drafted Aubrey? Was
MLS.
that... All right, MLS, there it is.
Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're all good. You're all good.
Hey, when you know, you know.
Yeah,
that was sick.
Yeah, well, it was, and they mentioned it 1,000 times. We're going to double-check our score, and we're going to bring in Randy Kerber.
All right, Kyle, how are you feeling after the fight?
The first 3, I'm questionable. Obviously, the 4th one I know, but I probably pegged a couple of them.
There you go. Yeah, the last one, you definitely figured that one out pretty quickly. Because when you know, you know. Randy is in the room with his Diet Dr. Pepper this morning. Randy, why the Diet Dr. Pepper today?
Because I had it in my cooler.
Oh, okay. Usually you've been Propel pretty consistently
well,
lately.
I've got Propel too. That's why I need to do my water. So, but yeah, just a little caffeine on a Monday morning doesn't hurt you.
There you go. And some grapes.
It does not.
And say hi to Kyle, Randy.
Kyle, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, sir. I'm doing well, thank you. Appreciate listening to you guys.
Oh, thank you very much for listening, and thanks for playing today.
All right, you ready, Randy?
Ready.
Question number 1. Patrick Wisdom is sometimes listed as a Cardinals prospect who got away with his success in Chicago. Which team did the Cardinals trade him to on this day back in 2018?
The Cardinals traded Patrick Wisdom to the Texas Rangers, I believe, for Drew Robinson, if I'm not mistaken. Drew Robinson subsequently attempted suicide and now is in the Giants organization as a mental health coach. So now you know.
I didn't expect that full run there. Okay. Antonio Gates has the most receptions for an undrafted player with 955. But which receiver is the only other undrafted player to eclipse 900 catches?
I will do the lifeline, Matthew.
Is it Marcus Colston?
No.
Wes Welker?
Yes.
Or Rod Smith?
I believe former St. Louis Ram Wes Welker with the kazoo helmet.
It was like this big, and his body was not.
So, and I think he actually may have gone over 900 catches as a member of the Rams. I think I might have been at the game where he caught his 900th pass. So I will go with Wes Welker.
Shohei Ohtani's contract averages out to $70 million per year.
Pretty good.
Which would be higher than this past year's total team salary for two franchises, the Oakland A's and which other AL team?
Baltimore Orioles.
All right, Randy, and last night, Cowboys kicker Brandon Aubrey hit both a 59 and 60-yard field goal in the same game, the first time that has ever been done. Undrafted by the NFL, which pro sports league drafted Aubrey?
First of all, I was shocked that Greg Zuerlein never did that.
Yeah, me too.
That he never hit a 59 and a 60 in the same game. I believe they showed last night on the broadcast that he was drafted to MLS, that Aubrey was drafted to a soccer team, but then went to the NFL instead.
I think the money's better?
Yes, even for a kicker, I think.
I mean, you got to be pretty much one of the best players in the MLS to make over $1 million. So, yeah, it's he's probably doing better than if he had.
But he's probably not making what Zuerlein made with the Cowboys.
Probably not. No, that was pretty good money.
Yeah.
So, did Randy Carricker take down Kyle in today's fight? Does Megamind roll on, or does Kyle jump up and grab Megamind for a win on a Monday, a rare Monday win? Randy's always locked in over the weekend. I think it's because he reads like stat books.
I do.
Yeah, okay. See, that's how I thought. So, does reading the stat book on Sunday give Randy Carricker another win, or does Kyle get a win here? Ring that bell.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
The winner and still champion of the fight, Randy Carricker.
I'm sorry, Kyle. You got 2 correct, but unfortunately, Randy hit the jack. He got 4, and he beat you 4-2 today.
Shocked. Not shocked at all.
Not at all. Let's go through those questions. Let's go through those answers. Patrick Wisdom, sometimes listed as a Cardinals prospect who, quote-unquote, got away following his success in Chicago, but it was not straight to the Chicago Cubs. The Cardinals first did, in fact, trade him to the Texas Rangers for Drew Robinson. Randy got every piece of that story right, and especially the depressing parts. Antonio Gates, the most receptions for an undrafted player with 955. Which receiver has the only other undrafted player to eclipse 900? It is, in fact, Wes Welker, who caught 13 passes in his final season with the 2015 Rams, which therefore with 903 means he crossed that 900 catch mark in a Rams jersey, which is insane. Shohei Ohtani's contract averages out to $70 million per year, which would be higher than the past year's total team salary for the Oakland A's and the Baltimore Orioles. And last night, Cowboys kicker Brandon Aubrey hit a 59 and 60 yarder in the same game, the first time that has ever been done. He went undrafted by the NFL, but he was a first-round pick in the MLS Super Draft. So a 4-2 win for Randy Carricker today. Kyle, thank you so much for joining the fight and joining the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I listen every morning, so can't wait to hear you guys tomorrow.
Thank you, Kyle. We appreciate it. Kyle.
There you go. Randy, how are you feeling after the fight and your Diet Dr. Pepper?
I feel pretty good.
I changed question 4 late last night because I originally had it as who's the only other NFL kicker to get drafted to get drafted by the MLS. He played for the Chargers and the Jaguars.
Chargers and the Jags.
I thought this was too random.
It's not Nate Kading, is it?
No.
I'll know the name when you say
Josh Lambo.
Lambo, yep, there you go.
Oh.
Yep. I didn't realize he got drafted to MLS.
Yes, he did.
Congratulations to him. All right, there's the fight on 101 ESPN. Coming up, the NFL has a lot of players in the play, a lot of teams in the playoff hunt, but not many great teams. Is that better for the league? That's next on 101 ESPN. So I was just telling Matthew and Brooke that I'm going to Massage Envy tomorrow and really looking forward to it because I got a little shoulder ache. And if you're looking for the perfect, thoughtful gift for everybody on your list this holiday season, give them the gift of me. Massage Envy. Massage Envy is a gift card that you can use for a massage or a facial or a stretch session. And now through December 31st, when you buy $100 in gift cards, you'll get a free $20 promo card to either keep for yourself, nothing wrong with that, or add to someone's gift. Massage Envy, where better begins. Offer good in location only, not available online. Terms apply. See franchise location for details.
Fake has a man wide open. It's caught. Kittle, penalty flag. Kittle on the way to the end zone. It's a touchdown, but let's see what the penalty is.
Yeah, I don't think the penalty's going to matter. I think Julian Love, the safety, came up and knew he was beat.
Well, one of the teams that we know is really good is the San Francisco 49ers. And there are other really good teams in the NFL in 2023. The Baltimore Ravens are there at the top of the list. You can find several. But the real thing, Brooke, that I see in the NFL this year is that there's a lot of mediocrity. After the Ravens and the Dolphins, you've got this huge group at either 8-5, 7-6 in the AFC. The Chiefs, Jags, Browns, Steelers, Colts, Texans, Broncos, and Bengals and Bills are all 8-5 or 7-6. And you have one team that has double-digit wins. If Miami wins tonight, you'll have two teams in the AFC that have double-digit wins. It's even more pronounced in the NFC, where you have three double-digit win teams: Niners, Cowboys, Eagles, and then the Lions at 9-4. But then you're looking at by the end of tonight, you'll have this group at 7-6 or 6-7. Vikings, Packers, Bucks, Rams, Seahawks, Falcons, Saints, and then the Bears sliding in at 5-8. A lot of teams have an opportunity to make the playoffs, but it would seem don't have much of an opportunity to advance very far in the playoffs. So is it good to have an Atlanta fan base that has a chance to make the playoffs, or a Saints or a Seahawks fan base that has a chance to make the playoffs, but they know that the first thing they see is going to be either the Niners or the Cowboys, and they'll probably get blitzed in the first round of the playoffs?
I'm going to say no, and it's with what you just said earlier. There's been so many mediocre games this season that it's been more frustrating than fun to watch, at least from my own perspective. I have not enjoyed watching this NFL season because you don't know what to expect from games, and we even have seen the 49ers struggle. We've seen the Eagles struggle, where there's been some lopsided games where it just really doesn't make sense. This season in the NFL does not make sense whatsoever, and I don't know, it's because we've seen a lot of injuries when it comes to quarterbacks in this league, quarterbacks that we thought were going to be huge, Joe Burrow being one of them. He dealt with injuries all throughout the season, is now out for the rest of the season, but he's not the only one. We've had a lot of backup quarterbacks having to play in games, but to me, this has not been an enjoyable stretch for the NFL.
I was somebody, as a Rams fan, that as a St. Louis Rams fan in their last years here, I was all about, okay, they have a chance to make the playoffs and then anything can happen. I think the league has changed, to your point. I really don't think that these teams that have a chance, 9 of the 16 AFC teams are 8-5 or 7-6. And those teams probably aren't going anywhere. Same thing with the NFC. 7 teams are going to end the weekend either 6-7 or 7-6. I don't think those teams are going anywhere. I think the difference, it's not haves and have-nots. It's haves and kind of haves. And I think the difference between the haves and the kind of haves is so pronounced now that the kind of haves really don't have a chance. Do I see anybody going into San Francisco and winning? San Francisco spent the better part of 3 games, 2 full games, and then most of another game without Deebo Samuel. They lost all 3. Otherwise, they're 10-0. And somebody, a texter said, well, why don't you throw Trent Williams in there? Trent Williams played, I think, 87% of the snaps in one of the games that he was hurt. But Deebo Samuel is a difference maker, as we saw yesterday for the 49ers. Same thing in the AFC. Baltimore, by all rights, should be undefeated. They lost to the Steelers in a game that they had a lead in the fourth quarter. They lost to the Colts in a game where Matt Gay had 4 50-yard field goals, and then their other loss was also in the fourth quarter, and that was to Cleveland, the 33-31 loss. To me, this looks so much like the home teams, like it's going to be San Francisco and Baltimore. I think the NFL could use a few more halves. And you mentioned the Burrow injury. If Joe Burrow is healthy, then it looks like a different league, doesn't it?
It does. It really does. And that's my kind of frustration, is that I really expected this entire season to go differently. I like having those big names, the big quarterbacks facing off against each other. I like having some of that dominance. And I know that some people say, well, it's the same thing you expect every single season. Yeah, because they're so dominant. And that's what you want to see. You don't want to see people who are just kind of stumbling into things. And that's why this season has just been so weird. The fact that the Broncos are now right behind the Chiefs is just weird. I don't think anybody could have predicted that at the beginning of the season.
Is that a team, by the way, if we're going to pick out haves and kind of haves, and let's just count Denver as a kind of have, is that a scary team once the playoffs start? I'm just saying the home teams are going to win. Could you see Denver with the way they're playing defense? By the way, they almost had a shutout yesterday. They allowed 70 points earlier in the season. Yesterday, they beat the Chargers 24-7. With Sean Payton coaching them and with Russell Wilson at the helm at quarterback and the way they're playing defense, are they kind of scary, Denver?
Maybe a little bit, but then we've also seen things go sour for them this season. So that's where it makes it so unpredictable with what you've seen. Typically, the Chiefs are going to be the scary one in the conversation, right? Because of Patrick Mahomes. But he doesn't have any reliable receivers now outside of Travis Kelce and maybe Rashee Rice in that category.
Right, and if we started the playoffs today, let me make sure that I get this right. I think that it would be, let's see, 2 versus 7 would be Miami and Indy. And then, 3 versus 6 would be the Chiefs and the Steelers. That'd be an interesting game. And then 4 or 5, Jags and Browns, which we saw yesterday. But if Denver can slide in there, Denver going into Kansas City for a first-round game, I think it'd be really interesting.
And because of the season, you wouldn't know what to expect.
Yeah. And I just don't see, aside from the Eagles, who are an anomaly as a 10-3 wildcard team, but I don't see the Buccaneers, who lead the NFC South now, being scary at all.
No.
I don't see the Vikings. They won 3-0 yesterday. I don't see them being scary. I don't see the Packers going on the road and being scary. The Rams, Seattle, Atlanta. I don't see any of those teams being scary. That's why I think the home teams have a distinct advantage. The best teams in the league have more of an advantage this year than they've ever had.
We got a text from the 618, which this is a good one. Wouldn't it be good theater, though, to have Joe Flacco go into Baltimore and win a playoff game?
That would be great theater. That would be amazing. And theoretically, that could happen, although Baltimore gets that first round bye. So Cleveland would have to win on the road. Well, they could win in Jacksonville and still, I guess, be the lowest seeded team left. That'd be, just seeing Flacco play the game in Baltimore, a playoff game in Baltimore would be interesting. So anyway, it's a mediocre league. It feels like it's more mediocre now than it's ever been.
It really does. Point. No, and we were talking about earlier with the passing of Frank Wycheck, just that era of football. I mean, we went from the Music City Miracle and the Greatest Show on Turf to what would you even describe this season? Is there...
Meh. Right, because didn't the... I guess, did the Titans go 14-2 that year? I'm not sure. But the Rams were 13-3. Titans were really good.
But
Jaguars
I'm just saying,
were really
like,
good.
two very dominant teams where they were also well matched.
Yeah, it was great. And there were multiple because the Jags were really good that year. The Vikings, even though they didn't have the best record, was a super talented team. Buccaneers had an epic defense. You had what you could argue is, okay, some of a top 5 unit of all time kind of sprinkled throughout the league. I don't think that any team now has what we would say is an epic all-time unit playing right off the top of my head. There's not an offense or a defense where I say, man, I got to tune in to see that because they're different than anybody else has ever been.
Exactly. And that's when you're comparing that. You just don't have that like you did then. This season especially. You just do not feel that whatsoever.
Yep. 1999 Titans were 13-3. I think that's when Fisher called Everbank Stadium their home away from home. Right? Because they always won in Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm. That
must have been fun, the arrogance of that team. No, they were. It was
during that time,
great athletic arrogance. It was fun. It's like the greatest show on turf, Rams. You know, people talk about players jumping on logos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In pregame, the Rams would get all 45 players dressed for a game, really tight together, and they would jump on the opposing team's logo in midfield during pregame warm-ups. And what the hell was the other team going to do about it? You weren't going to stop them.
Just watch.
Yep, exactly. Coming up, the Rush Hour Reset here on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you're getting ready for a holiday party and you haven't done the shopping for the food yet, you need to go to Schnucks because Schnucks is going to have everything that you want, everything that you need for your holiday party, and they can make it so easy. Just use your Schnucks Rewards app or go to Schnucks.com and you can get a plate of sandwiches and a great charcuterie tray and a vegetable tray. Everything you need to make your party as easy as possible is available at Schnucks, and you're going to have a spectacular wine selection. All of the drinks that you need are there, and then for your own holiday meal at home, make sure you stop by Schnucks, and they're going to have just a great selection of turkeys and hams. And if you want to maybe do some ribeyes on the grill during the holiday season, stop by that Schnucks Butcher. It's the best butcher in town. They also have the best bakery in town. Don't forget to download the Schnucks Rewards app before you go, because when you have the Schnucks Rewards app, you get 2% back on every single thing you buy at Schnucks. I use it all the time, and I hope you will too. Getting ready for the holidays, you're going to need a lot of food in the house, and you need to get started at Schnucks.
sports stories of the day on the opening drive with a Rush Hour Reset.
Tonight we have Monday Night Football, Titans and Dolphins. We'll have the kickoff for you at 7:15 here on 101 ESPN. And then tomorrow night, don't forget the early start for the Blues and the Red Wings. 5:30 pregame, 6:30 faceoff as the Blues take on Detroit in St. Louis for the only time this year. And you may or may not get a chance to see David Perron. He's got a hearing with the NHL discipline committee today, and we don't know how that's going to turn out. David protecting his teammates.
That's what David Perron does.
And then he might get a 6-game suspension just for being a good guy.
Yeah, well, cross-checking involved always, you know.
Did the guy have to go to the hospital? If the guy didn't have to go to the hospital, then
it should be fine. Just let the kids play.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
there you go.
And then Patrick Kane, also now a member of the Detroit Red Wings. So they're in town tomorrow night. And then the Blues take on the Senators on Thursday night. We've got Chris Zimmerman, the Blues president, coming up here in about 10 minutes here on 101 ESPN. And Bob Nightengale from USA Today talking about the Shohei Ohtani contract and the fallout from the Ohtani contract. As a matter of fact, Ohtani did sign for $700 million over 10 years with the Dodgers on Saturday. Aside from the money, Jeff Passan of ESPN, why would Shohei go to L.A.?
Look, they were the favorite at the beginning for one reason and one reason only, and that's that they could pay the most money. And look, $700 million, I mean, when you compare it to the biggest contract in MLB history, Mike Trout's $426.5 million, dwarfs it. When you compare it to the biggest free agent contract in MLB history, Aaron Judge's $360 million, almost doubles it. So there was the money. There was also the fact that Shohei Ohtani, having played down the 5 in Anaheim for 6 years, really grew to respect the processes that the Dodgers have in place and how they develop players in their farm system and the technology and science and everything they do. But the third thing, they win. And Shohei Ohtani, as we saw in the World Baseball Classic this year, loves winning, and he thought that winning in Los Angeles was going to be the best place to do so.
Okay, Brooke, I'm scrolling here. I'm at Baseball Reference looking at world champions over full season scrolling.
I knew that.
Scrolling.
As soon as he said World Baseball Classic, I was like, what else happened, though?
Yeah, scrolling. 1988 was the last time the Dodgers won a full season World Series. Give them credit for 20 when they won in the COVID year.
Yes.
But 60 games is a lot different than 162. So maybe Shohei will be the difference. Shohei has never even played in the playoffs yet. Maybe he'll be the difference between them winning and not winning World Series. You know what their rotation is right now? Their rotation is like, and maybe they'll get Yamamoto, but their rotation, Bobby Miller heads their rotation, Walker Buehler's in it, Ryan Pepio. They've got like 4 guys that are coming back that are out for the year with Tommy John. Dustin may come back in the middle of the season. They got to go buy some pitching, too.
Well, and that's the reports is that they are reportedly interested in Dylan Cease, so they might try to make a trade for that. And they do have the prospects, because as we know now, that if the White Sox are going to give up Dylan Cease, they are going to want your top prospects. And so the Dodgers do have that available. And now they're reportedly in on Tyler Glass now. And they have showed they have the money and capability to do so. But that is the big question with Shohei Ohtani, with what Jeff Passan was saying there. By the way, what a nice guitar riff that was by Jeff Passan. He just dropped there in the middle of the conversation. But what would be considered successful getting the most out of this contract with the Dodgers?
To me, if the Dodgers win a World Series.
Just one?
Just one. It's worth it. It's worth it. I would make any trade to win a World Series. People always were, even getting to the World Series is a pretty cool deal. When the Cardinals traded Andy Van Slyke and Mike LaValliere and Mike Dunn to the Pirates back in 1987, they went to the World Series. And Andy goes on to become a multiple-time all-star, great player. LaValliere was a key part of the Pirates winning 3 divisions. But for me, if you make a move to get you to a World Series, generally that's good. Now, $700 million is different, but yes, if the Dodgers win a World Series, and it's in large part because of Shohei Ohtani's presence there, I think it's worth it. What do you think? Do you think it takes more than one World Series to
Well,
make it
it's
worth it?
interesting because I'm sure you were listening this morning to Unsportsmanlike with Michelle Smallman on there, and they were discussing that, and it felt like that they were talking about you would need to win at least two, but I think we all know how hard it is to win, especially a World Series or a championship in any caliber like that.
Dodgers
I think
know.
that one, yeah, just ask the Dodgers. It's been really hard for them to do that. So I think that, of course, the front end of this contract is where you're hoping to get the most out of this. The back end, it's never going to look pretty or good.
It could be really ugly.
It could be really ugly. And that's what you sign up for with these long-term contracts. But I think for the Dodgers, for them to break through, they have had so much talent. And now he's joining, as some names you mentioned, but also Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman.
Mm-hmm.
That's some scary stuff. But they always do well in the regular season, as we've seen for the past 2 seasons. But the postseason is where they do not find much success.
And if they're healthy, they could have a team. I think maybe they hit Ohtani second. Betts, Ohtani, Freeman. That is right, left, and then you go right with Will Smith, left with Muncy, left with Outman, left with Hayward, Taylor hitting 8th. I think you have to move Taylor up in the lineup because he's a right-handed hitter, and then Gavin Lux, another lefty, hitting 9th. But I think you probably have to move Taylor up to maybe the number 6 hole, or 6th or 7th, and then move Jason Hayward down. It's a pretty formidable lineup, and they do have a lot of left-handed hitting. They might be vulnerable to left-handed pitching at times, but Ohtani and Freeman both hit lefties really well. It's going to be a monstrous lineup to face, especially the top 5.
How much credit do you give the Dodgers for the 2020 win?
I have trouble with, and you know what? They did win. It's really unfair.
They did. There's definitely, it feels like there's an asterisk there, right?
Yeah, because how many times, and I know this isn't the Dodgers' fault, but how many times has a team looked really good after 60 games and then fallen apart?
Yes.
2015, the Giants had the best record in baseball at the All-Star break. It was a year after their last championship. Best record in baseball after before the All-Star break. This is after like 90 games. Worst record in baseball after the break. And especially because they didn't have to play a real September where the games are played at such an extraordinarily intense level. I can't give them that. It's really hard for me. I know it's unfair, but it's hard for me to give them credit for that world championship.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I think
Lakers
that's
bubble.
a lot of
Lakers bubble. I feel the same way about. Do you, Matthew?
No, just because if you win the championship with the parameters, like I just feel like there's a lot of weird seasons across a lot of sports. You know, there's strike shortened seasons and things like that. I don't want to get too caught up in that stuff. You win a championship, win a championship.
I guess, but it is a little bit different, especially with baseball.
Think about this, Brooke. How fluky that whole COVID thing was. The Montreal Canadiens were in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're terrible the year before, go to the Stanley Cup Finals, terrible the year after. I mean,
that was a weird time for sports in general.
Yeah.
It was very weird.
Yeah. And it's also weird.
And then you had people, you didn't have real people in the stands.
Right.
Cardboard cutouts.
Yeah, you had me. Yeah, well, me and Michelle were in there a lot.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I forgot to buy one of those. I should have.
Yeah, that would have been great to have Brooke in the stands with us.
Yeah.
So the entire Fastlane crew was in there, BT and Anthony, and who was with them at the time? It was pre-Rivs, I think. I don't know, maybe Ranji? Was no, I don't know. I don't remember.
I was not around.
I don't remember when Ranji
I
got
should have
whacked.
just snuck mine in there.
Yeah,
just
that
went to a print store, and because how much was it?
I think it was like $100 or something.
Oh yeah, no, I was not. I didn't have that money. No,
Okay.
Give me that was
Cardinals Care. I went to Cardinals Care.
That's like 4 things of toilet paper. I didn't have that kind of cash lying around in 2020.
Hey,
You kidding me?
yeah. That was the real currency back then.
Coming up, Blues President Chris Zimmerman is going to join us. The Blues have an incredible initiative coming up, and we're going to talk to Chris about that next on 101 ESPN. Hey, when we have a house built, normally there's a certain size of gutters that we have, and many times those gutters are too small. And if you come home and it's raining hard and you see water coming over the side of your gutters, probably tells you that your gutters are too small. Well, that's a problem that can be solved by our friends at Gutter Pros, Gutter, gutterpros.com, and they'll put in new, incredible gutters for you that are big enough so that they can handle all that water. Whether you are a residential customer or commercial, you will get a great deal from my friends at Gutter Pros. They are A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. They get 4.9 out of 5 stars in their reviews, and they're great St. Louis people. They have a great facility in downtown St. Louis, and they'll come out and provide you a free estimate from anywhere within a 50-mile radius. You'll love working with their people, and you'll love the deal that you get. They aren't a high-pressure company. They'll come out, and they'll tell you what you need, and they'll say, here's our price. And they're going to push you and say, oh, okay, I can give you this offer today. That's just not the way Gutter Pros works. You'll love them. I do, and you will too. Go to gutterpros.com to make your appointment today. That's Gutter Pros, gutterpros.com.
His top lip is split, like from, the tip of his lip right up through the middle of his nostrils, up into his nose, right? And he's laying there and he says, how bad is it? And he can't even talk. He's like, how bad is it? And I just looking at him and I started laughing and I said, let me put it to you this way, pal. Way more chicks for Chaser.
That's our buddy Kelly Chase, one of the all-time great Blues and one of the great ambassadors for our region. And it was revealed last week by the St. Louis Blues that Chaser has started chemo treatments for leukemia, and so the timing is right for the Blues to host Hockey Fights Cancer Night tomorrow night at Enterprise Center. And joining us now on the celebrity line is the president of the St. Louis Blues, Chris Zimmerman, and he has obviously a vested interest in what's going on tomorrow and throughout the year with the Blues as well. Chris, thanks so much for the time this morning. How you doing?
Yeah, hey, I'm doing good, Randy. I appreciate you having me on. Yeah, Hockey Fights Cancer this is actually the 25th year that the NHL has been involved in this. And, I think I'm pretty sure that most every listener has been touched by this, either with a family member or somewhat friend, someone close to them. So this is a really, really, really important effort that we have going.
And it's always been an important effort for the Blues, and even redoubling your efforts now with the $200,000 cancer research grant for the Siteman Cancer Center.
Yeah, so we have a new partner that we're working with. The V Foundation has come on as a partner for both the NHL, and we have one of the initial programs that'll be launched tomorrow, with the objective of creating at least a $200,000 grant from the V Foundation that will go towards, ongoing research. As you know, there's so many different types of cancer, so many different things to fight, and if you will, we can't put too much money behind finding cures. And it's really cures across the board for so many different types of cancer that people battle and suffer from.
And Chris, tomorrow night you will be in a video during the pregame, and you mentioned that every family has been touched by cancer, and your family during the course of the last several years has tragically been dealing with it as well. First of all, how's your family doing?
Well, thanks, Randy. just for those who wouldn't know, my wife Emily was diagnosed just over a year ago with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and after a courageous and valiant battle, cancer won. My family's doing okay. Your life is, I guess, in some ways, never the same. I was blessed to have really a magical 36-year marriage, and for those who knew her, Emily's spirit, her care, and her heart were quite exceptional, and that's the legacy of loss that we carry forward. And I certainly know that Emily, who was very involved in the St. Louis community on a number of different levels, this would be really important to her that we were doing this work. We have so many close friends who have been afflicted, again, with all different types of cancer. And so, yes, now I guess my fight and my involvement is just that much more personal, and wanting to make a difference in the lives of the people who are either in a battle, in remission, or may come up against this in the future.
I'm so sorry for your loss, Chris. I can only imagine what it's like to go through that. And it's always hard. And as you mentioned, it feels like cancer touches so many people's lives. And it was just announced that Blues alumni Kelly Chase was recently diagnosed with leukemia. What have you heard about how he's dealing with this battle? And obviously this would be a big night celebrating him, too, and helping him.
Well, yeah, I mean, first of all, Kelly Chase, talk about people who have committed a lot to our community, both as a player, as a broadcaster, as a parent. I bet Kelly has done as many public events working to support more different efforts than I think anyone in this community. And so, I think Kelly, I know he's just started some treatments that, are going to be ongoing for a bit. The thing I think about Kelly is that literally, obviously, as a player, he was a fighter. He's been a fighter, I think, his whole life. And I think that the spirit and the courage that Kelly brings to this really tough fight, cancer is going to have its hands full.
Zim, it's interesting because I think like a million other people, I sent a text to Chaser saying, hey, I'm rooting for you and I know you're going to beat this. And the response is, don't worry, buddy, I got this. Just another fight, and it's the only thing I'm good at. So quintessential Kelly Chase, right?
There's no question. There's no question. And, but yeah, I think, among the, I know our 50-50 that we've got going that actually started over the weekend, I believe, that in part was inspired by wanting to support, Kelly specifically and just all the efforts. And, so there are a number of different ways that people will be able to be involved. And, I certainly, among the motivations I hope people will feel is the power and the heart of Kelly Chase, and what that means as you think about donating or participating in our fundraising efforts.
And also, you guys are going to have your annual call for the Blues fans to turn on their cell phone lights during the game to spread Ari's light. How much has Ari's story just really inspired you guys in the hockey world?
Well, obviously, I don't know. I'm sure for everyone, cancer is challenging. Watching young children, which, as we know, is a pretty broadly and not uncommon situation, but watching the fight of young children is always touching, motivating, inspiring. Ari Dugan was her spirit, attitude, as she worked to fight cancer, I just thought was exceptional. And so our ability to continue to honor her life, and that she is, years later, still a very meaningful part of the blues story, I think it is really powerful. As I said earlier, there's just there's so much battle, so much suffering, if you will, from this challenging disease, and so many people that are part of, quite honestly, our close friends and family, the blues family, and this is the type of effort that I think is where St. Louis can and often shines in showing its heart. And so it's a big week to both honor those who have lost the fight, and very much about fighting for those who are in it and will continue to be going forward.
And again, in collaboration with the V Foundation, the Blues are going to fund $200,000 in cancer research for Siteman Cancer Center. You can get involved with the Blues 50/50 raffle at blues5050.com. Blues5050.com. Purchase a 50/50 ticket with a guaranteed pot of $39,000 in honor of Kelly Chase. And you can go watch the Blues and the Red Wings on Hockey Fights Cancer Night tomorrow. Chris, the Blues are such a key element of our community, doing great things on a regular basis. Blues for Kids, collaborating with the V Foundation, bringing us a lot of entertainment with the hockey team. Thank you so much for what you and your organization do for our community, and we hope tomorrow is a big success. And the biggest thing we hope is that someday soon we'll be able to find a cure for this horrible, insidious disease.
Yeah, thanks, Randy. We so appreciate your help, obviously, in everything we're doing, and certainly in our Hockey Fights Cancer effort. Thanks, and we'll see everyone out there tomorrow night.
You bet. Thanks, Chris. That is Chris Zimmerman, the president of the St. Louis Blues. And as he mentioned, his family devastated with the loss of Emily last spring. And, I got lucky. My grandparents, I didn't have cancer in my family until my son was diagnosed a couple of summers ago.
Really?
Yeah, I was one of the lucky few. But ultimately, it hits everybody. It hits every single family. And at some point, we have to find a way to cure it. And hopefully it'll happen during my lifetime. I don't know. But the Blues certainly doing everything they can. And we, as sports fans, hope that we do everything that we can, whether it's something as simple as buying a 50/50 ticket or getting to the game tomorrow and being a part of Hockey Fights Cancer. And everybody fights cancer. Baseball, football, everybody does a really good job in the sports world of trying to end this disease.
It really is one of the best nights that the Blues has, where it just brings so much awareness and everything that they do. Hockey does such a good job of that, and the Blues do such a good job. I mean, Randy, you've seen it. One was, we just talked to Chris Zimmerman, all their community efforts, but the players, I've seen where the players will have some kids dealing with cancer, this hard time, that will come to the game, and they will, no matter the result of the game, they will go and talk to those kids. It's very special what they do for the community and helping these people through a very hard and trying time.
And you're so right about Ari Dugan being so inspiring in her relationship with Vladdy.
Yes.
And everything that went on through her trials and tribulations. And the best thing that somebody can do at any age is to be inspiring years later and be remembered. And Ari Dugan, and our thoughts and prayers go to her family. Ari Dugan certainly was inspiring.
Yes.
No doubt about it. That's Brooke. I'm Randy. Coming up, Shohei Ohtani is the $700 million man. We're going to talk to our friend Bob Nightengale about that and how we reported the story. That's next on 101 ESPN. So there's a lot of things going on always at the Fenton Bar and Grill, and today is another great day to head on over to the Fenton Bar and Grill. Enjoy one of their great burgers. Get that $6.99 burger with a side and enjoy that. But our buddy, Chuck Nash, is over at the Fenton Bar Grill. He's the manager there. He's in Louisville attending the Clemson-Notre Dame men's soccer final today, and Fenton Bar and Grill is going to have the Clemson-Notre Dame match on the pitch and on their TVs at 5 o'clock. So stop by the Fenton Bar and Grill. They're huge soccer fans over there, and they just have amazing specials every day. Stop by today and enjoy the meatloaf. It is great. And when you go to the Fenton Bar and Grill, and I went last week and had one of my favorite things in the world, which is their trash wings. They are the best trash wings in town, and you'll absolutely love them. Go in, order with their signature golden sauce, and it's something that you will come back again and again and again for. It really is a cool place. It's on Rudder Road in Fenton. You can learn more by going to FentonBarandGrill.com. Stop by, say hi today to Kelly and Megan and the whole gang, and you'll just have a great time and have a lot of fun sports at Fenton Bar and Grill. When you go, tell them Randy sent you.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues over the weekend fall to two of the bottom teams in the leagues, 5-2 to the Blue Jackets on Friday, and then 3-1 to the Blackhawks on Saturday. They're back in action tomorrow night against the Red Wings, 6:30 p.m. puck drop, 5:30 p.m. pregame right here on 101 ESPN and 101ESPN.com. And the big news over the weekend: Shohei Ohtani signs with the Los Angeles Dodgers, 10 years, $700 million. And Brooke and Randy are breaking that down with USA Today's Bob Nightengale on the other side. This has been your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your road and shop 24/7 at Londoff.com and LondoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Kerry Davis is out today. Brooke Grimsley, Randy Carricker with you on the opening drive on 101 ESPN in St. Louis. And it's always good to talk to our friend Bob Nightengale of USA Today. He is tied in to Major League Baseball and joins us now to talk about Shohei Ohtani signing and what happened leading up to the signing. Bob, good morning. How you doing?
Yeah, doing great. Thanks, Randy. Thanks, Rick.
Yeah, always good to hear your voice. Well, you have a great piece up at USA Today about the way the media reported the Shohei Ohtani negotiations. Can you give us a capsule of what made you write this piece? What bothered you about the way it was reported?
Well, I think it was that situation. I think we were embarrassing ourselves. You know, we baseball writers, and I think we just kind of get out of control here, and this brought it to a head. It's just that we're such in a hurry to be first. You know, we were wrong. You know, I mean, you know, going back to Friday morning, you know, I wake up and hear that the decision's imminent. You know, check with the Ohtani's people, say, no, that's not true. Not even going to make a decision today. And then there's he's supposed to be on a flight at 9 o'clock in the morning from Santa Ana Airport. You know, no, Ohtani's still in his pajamas in Orange County. And I thought that I thought people finally had to realize, I ignored it, knew it was wrong. And then sometime in the early afternoon, a guy from Dodgers Nation says he picked the Blue Jays. Check back in, absolutely not true. He has not picked a team yet. And then, people reporting frantically, like, talking about on the TV and radio, real live reports, like, okay, the plane's about to land and everything else. And I didn't think that people still believed he was on the plane. And so finally he just said, no, he's not on the plane. He's not in Toronto. He never left his house in Southern California. He still had a meeting that late that afternoon in L.A. So, yeah, it was just I think just made us look bad as baseball writers.
And by the way, the person on the plane wound up being from Shark Tank, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So, it's just, just people just, reaching for conclusions like, it's got to be Ohtani. We've seen pictures of this plane before. But, yeah, so just, jumping way ahead and just going out of control.
I totally get it because I feel like, and I've talked about this before here on radio, I used to do TV reporting and sports anchoring and was nowhere near the caliber of journalists, but I took my journalism ethics courses pretty seriously. And does it feel like now that there's so many journalists or writers or even personalities out there that care more about being first rather than being accurate to the story? Is that where some of your frustration lies?
Yeah, and I think a lot of times, people just taking whatever the agent says and taking, word for it, a lot of leaks. I think the Cardinals do a great job as far as keeping them private. I think the St. Louis Post-Dispatch does a great job as far as not rushing to conclusions and being cautious in their approach. But I think just, got out of control, particularly with the social media. It was different back in the day when, before internet and everything else where, you better be right because this is going to be that paper is going to sit there all day long. Mm-hmm. Now, someone throws something out there, you can get confirmed in 10 seconds or get denied in 10 seconds. But it's almost like people forget that you put stuff on social media. It is like putting stuff in the newspaper.
Well, of course, we have to ask you about this big, giant contract with Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers. 10 years, $700 million. What would make this contract worth it for the Dodgers?
Just as long as he stays healthy. The thing is with him, I remember talking to Dodger officials, this going back to May of a year ago, 2022. And they said pretty much they want him for the brand, just what he means, to the organization, the franchise. Everybody in Japan now is being wearing Dodger caps. He made the Angels about $25 million a year. So he's probably going to make the Dodgers, maybe double that. So it's just what he means. Now you can have every game on TV in Japan. That electronic advertising behind home plate is going to be, constantly changing with Japanese advertising. But it just means so much. So even though, 700, massive figure, obviously, it's probably worth, less than $600 million because so much is deferred. I think more than half is deferred without interest. But even so, it's just you're not really paying that kind of money because of what he brings to the gate.
USA Today's Bob Nightengale with us on the opening drive on 101 ESPN. And Bob, as we speak, the Dodgers starting rotation is Walker Buehler, Bobby Miller, Ryan Pepio, Ryan Yarbrough, and Emmett Sheehan. Some prospects, guys that have a chance to be really good pitchers, but not what you'd expect from a championship team right now. What do you think they'll do about reinforcing that rotation?
No, they definitely got to make moves. I mean, just like, John Mosea, like was saying all winter, we got to get 3 pitchers. I think the Dodgers would tell you we got to get 2 pitchers. Obviously, Ohtani's not going to pitch this year. Who knows, when he's going to pitch again. But, they're going to be all in on Yamamoto, who's going to get over $300 million. I think he's probably going to stay go to the Yankees or Mets. I won't discount the Dodgers. This guy's the opposite of Ohtani. He loves the limelight, the fashion, everything else. Otherwise, you got guys like Blake Snell who are available. And, of course, pitchers like Dylan Cease, who the Cardinals have interest in as well, available in trades.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you about with the Cardinals starting rotation. Just from what you're hearing and seeing, do you think the Cardinals will still go out and get another starting pitcher?
I think they'll look, and they're not going to do anything crazy and give up people they don't want. But I think they'll be on the prowl for sure. There's still so many pitchers out there, and if nothing else, you have depth. right now they have 5 solid starters, but during the course of the season, you're going to go through 8 or 9. So I'm sure they still have to get another starter somewhere.
Hey, Bob, before we let you go, much made of Yadier Molina being hired as a special assistant to the president of baseball operations. How much impact do you think Yadier Molina can have on this organization with the limited role that he'll serve in?
I think just as much as he wants. How much is he going to be around? He should be if he wants to be a manager, and he does, he should be around as much as possible. Getting to know just not the major league players, but the minor league players, how the whole system works, and putting himself right in the middle of things. Because nowadays managers are getting hired without much or any minor league experience. So people, hey, there's Cardinals coaches everywhere throughout the major leagues now with Cardinals ties. John Jay's name was everywhere, and he just retired. So I think just with the name of the Cardinals behind you, when this season ends, I would think Yadier Molina would be up, for a number of major openings. And how do you feel about the Cardinals with the moves that they've made so far? Right there. Someone says who's the favorite in National League Central. There really is no favorite. It is wide open. The Cardinals have every bit of a chance as the Brewers do, or the Cubs do. The Reds are a team to watch out for. So it should be a fun year. It's a fun division because no one's spending crazy money and outdistance themselves from everybody else. So I think the Cardinals have every bit of a chance as any team in there. Bob Nightengale, always good to hear your voice. If we don't speak before the holidays, have a happy holiday season, and I'm sure as this offseason continues to unfold, we'll speak again. All right, look forward to it. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Bob Nightengale, USA Today, with us on 101 ESPN. It is weird that the Dodger writer, the Dodger Nation writer, definitively reported that Ohtani was going to go to the Blue Jays, and so much speculation. We were watching MLB Network in here on Friday morning, and John Morosi was talking about how a decision was imminent. Well, it came more than 24 hours later, and he said the Blue Jays have made a lot of strides here in terms of getting Shohei Ohtani, and it doesn't appear, based upon what we saw Shohei Ohtani's actions were, staying at home, didn't appear that he was really all in on going to Toronto. No, not at all. And maybe the Blue Jays were at least in somewhat of the conversation. And I thought it was interesting what Bob Nightengale said about that when he contacted the agents, they were like, no. So then maybe that's what was missing there, was that due diligence of checking in with the agents to at least see, is this report true before I go run with it? I was very surprised that even happened. I was wondering if there was, some false information put out there by camps, and maybe we'll never fully, truly know the story. But sometimes, and Randy, you've seen this on social media, there might be one reporter who puts it out there, and then other reporters don't want to be behind or have their, manager, whoever's in charge of them, be like, hey, why aren't you confirming this? And so they'll just be like, oh, well, this is a reputable reporter. I'm just going to put what they put out there. Right. It does, and then it just happen. Snowballs all the time, sadly, and it's not right whatsoever. I can understand people's frustration with journalists with that because that's not the right due diligence. My goal is to never be first. No, I hate, Randy, hate it. And you wouldn't believe how many newsrooms, how many publications where the people in charge push that because they think that being first, that people keep track of that. No, what people keep track of, in my opinion, is more of who is the most accurate. They don't pay attention of, oh, well, and maybe you do, of seeing like this person tweeted out first. Who cares? You're going to remember the person who had it accurate all the time. There was one when the Missouri Board of Trustees, when Jim Sturk brought the name, it was Blake Anderson and two other coaches before they hired Drinkwitz. It was after firing Odom. And I had it rock solid. There was no doubt. I got it from like the greatest of sources that Sturk had taken this group of names to the Board of Trustees, and they were mad. They just said, hey, let's just pump the brakes on this. Why don't we go out and... I remember this. Yeah. Why don't you take a look at some other names? Because the names weren't... It was like a group of 500 coaches. Yeah. And that's why Sturk went back, and what happened, but people couldn't wait to deny that happened. And now, in retrospect, we know exactly what happened, and that's exactly what happened. But
there are times where even when you know you have it right, somebody is out there denying what the correct story was.
Exactly. And things change and that stuff happens. But I just hate that that's become such a focus when it comes to news stories, sports stories in general. It's the people who probably have not even gone out in the field and done the reporting, asked the agents, different things like that, who are saying, well, this is what, I think will work best for our business. People are going to keep track of that and push that narrative. I just think that it's led to some bad misreporting across the board in news and sports.
That's Brooke. I'm Randy, and you can join in the holiday spirit by helping 101 ESPN support Operation Food Search throughout the month of December. We've partnered with STL Shirt Company to offer a special 101 ESPN online merch store this month, offering 101 ESPN t-shirts and hoodies and hats and more. And we brought back some of your favorites like the Dunctionary shirts and Be Patient and Jamie Rivers and Brad Thompson jerseys. Order any 101 ESPN swag during the month, and all proceeds from all sales will go to support Operation Food Search. Visit the 101 ESPN online merch store now at 101ESPN.com, powered by McBride Homes. Hey, you like Journey? You like Cheap Trick? You like Def Leppard? You like Heart? You like the Steve Miller Band?
Yeah!
Tickets for all of them. We're going to give some away next on 101 ESPN. I don't know about you guys, but when I got up this morning, it was 31 degrees, and that's too cold to have your furnace go out. And that's why you need to get in touch with Hoffman Brothers. At Hoffman Brothers, they will make sure that your furnace is in great shape. You can reach them by calling them and setting up an appointment at 314-664-3011, 314-664-3011, or go to hoffmanbros.com. And they're going to offer an annual heating system maintenance and inspection to make sure that everything in your house is working perfectly and that your family will be comfortable all winter long. They'll come out and perform heating maintenance, clean that system, check all the burners and gas lines, and provide safety for you and your family. And if they notice anything that looks like it's going out or needs replacing, Hoffman Brothers is going to bring it to your attention. We had that happen a couple of years ago, and last year we got new furnaces put in by Hoffman Brothers. They want every single person in St. Louis to be educated about the system in their home, and this is no different. So if you want to get your furnace in great shape for the winter, make sure that it's safe and make sure that it's good to go for the entire winter season, go to hoffmanbros.com and set up an appointment today, or give them a call, 314-664-3011. Hoffman Brothers, your independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. Guys, for the holidays, it doesn't have to be a jewelry in a box. It doesn't have to be anything that's wrapped up in a box. It can be a card. The perfect, thoughtful gift for the holidays. Me time. ME with Massage Envy, a gift card that you can use for a massage or a facial or a stretch session. Now through December 31st, when you buy $100 in gift cards from Massage Envy, you're going to get a free $20 promo card to keep for yourself or add to someone else's gift. Massage Envy is the place to go. Massage Envy is where better begins. Get her a gift card from Massage Envy.
And roll.
Let's rock. Let's rock today.
Okay, so Brooke is going to this place called Chicken and Pickle, and Kerbs is going there. You can join 101 ESPN and Kerbs Sunday at the new Chicken and Pickle in St. Charles. It's the first pickleball tournament ever at the new Chicken and Pickle location, and it's an ugly sweater tournament, too. Plenty more happening at their new facility that includes 11 pickleball courts, a game yard, a rooftop bar, and much more. Check it all out Sunday with Kerbs, who will be at Chicken and Pickle from 11 till 1 in St. Charles. Get more information at 101ESPN.com.
We still never got to do our pickleball tournament that I kind of talked about when I first got here.
I need to start working on my game.
When I saw that Chicken and Pickle opened up, I booked a reservation for this coming weekend. I'm very excited. I haven't played pickleball yet, but I played tennis my entire life, and maybe this is just me being, somebody can text in. Am I being too cocky to think that I'll be at least okay since I played tennis?
You're athletic. You'll be fine.
You'll be
okay, fine. Yeah, because I feel like even like the pro pickleball players, they played tennis before.
The two biggest things as a tennis player that you're going to have to overcome. One, you're going to be angry that every serve is underhanded. It's going to bother you.
Yeah, no, I'm already furious about that.
Two, the difference is that in pickleball, the best players never play backwards. You're always right up at the net. You never step.
So
you never step back
the whole time.
It's just quick volleys every time. So like if it's a two-person game, like the best pickleball players, you always see it when they play the professional ones. No one's ever back at the back. It's always all four people are just standing right at the front, just going back and back and back and forth. That's the biggest difference as a tennis player to pickleball.
Oh, I love volleying and tennis, so I'm all for it.
Okay.
And then Randy, we'll have to get you out there.
I'll get out and play. Absolutely. We need to give away some tickets here. So 101 ESPN has your chance to score a pair of tickets to Def Leppard and Journey, but not just Def Leppard and Journey. You've got Def Leppard and Journey and the Steve Miller Band. You've got Def Leppard and Journey and the Steve Miller Band and Heart. You've got just an incredible array of musical talent on hand. July 6th at Busch Stadium. Tickets for Def Leppard, Journey, Cheap Trick, Heart, Steve Miller Band go on sale this Friday, December 15th. But you can text in now if you answer our trivia question and win free tickets today. And you can also find a bonus chance to register at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 mobile app. Okay, big question today. Has to do, it's like the classic, the quintessential, the perfect Shohei Ohtani trivia question. Matthew, what do you got for us?
Bob Nightengale mentioned the kerfuffle that went on across Twitter as people were tracking the private plane that would eventually land in Toronto, and people thought he's going to be a Blue Jay. It was not Shohei Ohtani. It was somebody from the show Shark Tank. And I really just I only need first name here. Which shark was on that plane?
Ooh.
Which shark was on that plane?
Just the first name?
Just the first name, because everyone knows them as their. I know all the sharks, but I only know them as their first name because I watch the show every once in a while because it's a fun show. But I only know them by their first name, except for Mark Cuban.
I love Shark Tank.
That's the only ones I know.
What is the most
his last name
successful
off the top of my
product
head.
off of there?
The Scrub Daddy.
Oh yeah.
It's the little sponge that's got like the smiley face in it. Like apparently it takes anything down.
One time I went to a grilled cheese restaurant. It closed, but there was a Shark Tank grilled cheese restaurant, like in O'Fallon. It was really good. But
that's so random.
Yeah, it was random. It was good. And then I've got another Shark Tank thing. On my car, I've got these little light-up decals. So I've got a Blues and a Cardinals. And those were on Shark Tank as well. So I have purchased Shark Tank items in the past.
Yeah.
My trivia question today was going to be the first person who can actually explain to me what pompatus of love means. Because I've listened to that Steve Miller, I've listened to the Joker by Steve Miller Band 1,000 times. And I've never figured out what the heck pompatus of love means. So if you can explain that to me, I'm not going to give you tickets, but I'll give you a nice hearty thank you.
Well, no, they want the tickets for July 6th.
Well, for that, they need to tell me which
stadium.
They need to tell me which shark was on the plane.
And what number? Is there a certain number?
Well, lucky number 13.
Lucky number 13? Okay.
So there's a song by Creedence Clearwater Revival, CCR, called Bad Moon Rising. And it says, there's a bad moon on the rise. But it sounds, for all the world, as if they're saying, there's a bathroom on the right.
Thanks for ruining CCR for me.
Now we'll hear that all the time.
Have you ever had like a song where, like the Pompatus of Love, where you just could not tell what the lyrics are?
Oh, so many. I feel like there's so many.
I thought it was One Winged Dove. Just like the not White Winged Dove. I thought it was One Winged Dove by Steve when Stevie Nicks was singing that for years. It's White Winged Dove.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I know that of course, I'll say if the song came up, then I would know it. But I feel like there's a lot where I've thought it was a certain one, and then I would sing it, and people would be like, no. That's not it. No,
that's exactly what I do too.
That's a wrong lyric.
As a little kid, it's rough growing up.
It's my understanding that Tim McKernan is in the building today. Has anybody actually seen him? Okay,
Ryder, do we have physical conference? No. Yes. Okay, good.
Okay, so he will be filling in for us in the 10 o'clock hour.
He'll be filling in for us.
He'll be filling in for us.
Yeah.
Uncalled for.
Yeah, but true, right?
And we have Texas 13, by the way. It was Robert Herjavec is the
what
shark.
was he known for?
Wasn't Herjavec attacked by Russia?
No, not at all. I'm not sure. I mean, I think all those guys. I mean,
Bosnia Herzegovina.
I cannot.
I think he's actually Croatian.
Randy!
Just saying. Okay.
But that's the answer to our trivia question. We'll have.
Robert.
Stay tuned every day this week, 9:45. We'll be giving away these tickets.
Okay, before we go, real name of Mr. Wonderful. Anybody know? So you got Lori Grenier, Robert Hershkovina.
Oh no, I have no idea.
You got Mark Cuban and then Mr. Wonderful, but nobody knows Mr. Wonderful's name.
Barbara Corcoran and what is Mr.
What is his name?
Nobody knows.
I don't know Mr. Wonderful's first name. Oh my God.
Paul.
Kevin?
Paul Orndorff.
Paul Orndorff is his name?
There was no way.
That's a wrestler. Wait, isn't Paul Orndorff a wrestler?
From Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff.
Oh, okay.
Wait. Mr. Wonderful?
Yeah.
Is that
Kevin O'Leary?
It's Kevin O'Leary.
Kevin O'Leary. That's the most boring name in the world.
So now you know via radio. A great job today by our producer, audio, video engineer, Matthew Rocchio. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Somebody, by the way, actually complained about my camera not being on. Thank you very much for whoever it was that complained about my camera. It's never happened before that somebody complained that they wanted to see my face.
That they couldn't see your face?
Yeah. So thank you very much. Whoever you were, I appreciate it greatly. Carrie will be back tomorrow. Brooke, did you have fun?
Yes.
Good. I'm glad. And we hope you had fun as well. For all of us, we thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show. Balloon Party next until tomorrow morning at 7. Have a great Monday, St. Louis.
That's right.
Hey, it's Randy, and I've got a message for you if you're even considering selling your home in St. Louis. If you need a reliable, experienced, and trusted real estate agent, get to know Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and there's so many reasons to call her. She's able to guarantee the sale of your home in writing because she already has the buyers in her exclusive database looking to buy in your neighborhood and in your price range. That's how Gloria nets you the most money and creates the highest demand, many times with multiple offers, and that means more money in your pocket. Gloria is going to sell for more and faster when compared to your average agent. Gloria Liu is not your average.